Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
It's 4th of July weekend, home in Arizona. A holiday in the desert. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is presented by Sanderson Ford, our servicemen and women. This one's for you. And no better place to enjoy the holiday weekend than here with us inside the ballpark as the D-backs look to make it 2 straight over the Rockies. It's time for baseball on a Friday night in downtown Phoenix right here on Fox Sports Arizona. And good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly along the way. It's the Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies, the second of a 4-game series. And another start tonight in the cleanup spot for Yasmani Tomas. He has been the answer behind Goldie. Bob, what has worked so well?
Well, first of all, he's a good hitter. He's got great hand-eye coordination. He knows his strike zone very well. He rarely swings and misses, but he makes tremendous adjustments on the fly. No better example than the pitch he doubled down the left field line last night. That was almost a knockdown pitch, and he was able to keep it fair. Look how he pulls his hands in, clears his hips, clears his shoulders, is able to keep that ball fair. But we saw a very similar swing on a pitch down and in San Diego on the last road trip. When you've got good hand-eye coordination and can make those kind of adjustments in mid-swing, you're going to put up numbers like this.
And these are Yasmani Tomas's numbers in the cleanup spot, a .340 hitter behind Paul Goldschmidt in the Diamondbacks lineup. Your pitching matchup tonight, Kyle Kendrick goes for the Rockies, Chase Anderson for the Diamondbacks. No pitcher in baseball has given up more home runs than Kyle Kendrick. However, Bob, the home run ball has been a problem lately for Chase.
Yeah, lately he went 11 starts and allowed only 3 home runs, but he's allowed 3 in his last 2 starts, and mostly it's just missed locations. You can see there, missed from one side of the plate to the other, from low to high. And once again against the San Diego Padres, you see the target down low and away. The pitch strays up over the inner part of the plate. Those are the kind of mistakes that Chase Anderson cannot afford to make. And occasionally he can go to his secondary pitches, but against the Padres, even his curveball was hanging up in the zone. So for Chase, it's about pitch location, keeping that ball down, changing speeds.
D-backs and the Rockies, the second of a 4-game series here at Chase Field. And David Peralta bringing the summer heat. He's in the 2-hole tonight. More on that coming up. You're watching Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Gigablast, how will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. By Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by Sanderson Ford. The best play is at Sanderson Ford.
And welcome back, Chase Field, on this Friday night, a holiday weekend in full force. Jody Jackson with you outside the D-backs dugout. You know, yesterday, first day of the international signing period, I couldn't help but think of David Peralta. What a story he's been for the Diamondbacks. A signing out of Venezuela by the St. Louis Cardinals in 2004 as a left-handed pitcher. He signed for just $35,000. And then after an arm injury, became a hitter. And the Diamondbacks found him in independent ball. And after coming up last year, he's really been productive for this team. And lately, David Peralta, well, the bat is really heating up. But look at his numbers for the last 15 games. And this is against left-handed and right-handed pitching. But if you see that average against left-handers, 318. He wanted to work on that in winter ball in Venezuela. He has done that. He is getting better and better. He is, of course, getting more playing time and more ability to see those lefties with Ender Inciarte on the DL. But Chip Hale said, look, we're going to try to continue to work him in. He is in the 2 spot tonight. And the Diamondbacks scoring 8 runs last night. Peralta with that 2-run triple. Well, they look to continue swinging a hot bat tonight against Kyle Kendrick.
I mean, you can't tell on a mound, and that's the biggest thing. So the hitter can't tell that he's not convicted to it. I mean, it's just about him and the pitch. So.
Of 9 against the Rockies this year, and as we get this big holiday weekend started at Chase Field, a chance to make it 2 in a row over Colorado, a team that comes in at the tail end of a 10-game 10-day road trip, currently sitting last in the National League West.
Yeah, hopefully be able to take advantage of that. Occasionally you'll catch a team at the end of a long road trip and they're running on fumes those last few games. Hopefully that'll be the case with the Rockies.
Colorado, they can still hit, we know that. Second in the National League in hitting in terms of team batting average. And on the mound against them tonight, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks is Chase Anderson, tagged for 8 runs on 8 hits against these Rockies last Tuesday at Coors Field when he gave up 3 home runs. Got to avoid, Bob, as you pointed out, those location mistakes tonight.
Yeah, location is the key for Chase Anderson. Not overpowering at all with his fastball. The changeup is by far his best swing and a miss pitch, but we've seen him leave some of those pitches up over the heart of plate, especially against the Rockies. His ERA against Colorado is 11.7. Against the rest of the major leagues, it's 2.67. He's averaging 5 innings against the Rockies, 6 1/3 against everybody else. You see the pitches that he will feature in the ball game tonight.
He has given up 6 home runs in his last 2 starts, trying to avoid that tonight as Charlie Blackmon leads it off for the Rockies with ball 1. Manny Gonzalez is our plate umpire. Blackmon just under 270 and 10 homers. Charlie Blackmon hitless last night in the series opener. And he is only 2 for his last 16 at the plate following an 11-game hitting streak that ended late last month. Out of play, a ball and 2 strikes.
The Diamondbacks did not take batting practice on the field today. They had some of their defenders come out, take ground balls and fly balls in the outfield. The Rockies did take a regular round of BP. I think the Diamondbacks were just exhausted from running around the bases last night.
A lot of extra base hits.
Oh, it was a thing of beauty.
And Diamondbacks last night broke the game open, trailing 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th. A 3-run 6th and a 4-run 7th. They won it 8-1. Jeremy Hellickson was tremendous last night. Really good.
Outstanding. Yeah, everything was good for Jeremy last night. You know, you see a guy sometimes he'll have a good fastball one night. The next start he'll have a good curve, but the fastball's not quite as good. Last night he had all of his pitches working well.
No walks and 6 strikeouts. Gave up only 3 hits in 7 innings. Charlie Blackmon takes Chase Anderson out of here, and we warned you at the top of the broadcast the home run ball has become a problem, and Blackmon leads it off with his 11th of the year.
Instant offense for the Rockies. Actually not a bad pitch. Inner third of the plate and down a little bit, but unfortunately that's right in Charlie Blackmon's wheelhouse. Got it up into the bleachers out there in deep right field.
Charlie Blackmon's 3rd leadoff home run this year makes it 1-0 Colorado, and here's the second baseman, DJ LeMahieu. 9th career leadoff homer for Blackmon. LeMahieu chases the high fastball, and it's 2-1. He gave up only 3 home runs through his first 13 starts, but over his last 3, including tonight, 7 home runs allowed. The 2-1 misses. He's behind on LeMahieu, 3-1 now. LeMahieu 296 and 4 homers. The batting average for LeMahieu has dropped more than 50 points over the last 3 weeks. He had the night off last night. That's in there for a strike, and it's full 3-2. Ball 4. The lineup for Walt Weiss's Colorado Rockies tonight.
Charlie Blackmon in center field will be leading it off. He already did that. Nice going, Charlie. DJ LeMahieu playing second base. Troy Tulowitzki at shortstop. Nolan Arenado, a couple errors in the ballgame last night down at third. Very uncharacteristic for him. Carlos Gonzalez in right field. Willeen Rosario at first base tonight with Nick Hundley behind the plate. Brandon Barnes in left field, and Kyle Kendrick the pitcher.
Troy Tulowitzki, 319 and 8 homers. He is 4th in the league in hitting. Arlington Castillo wants to talk to his pitcher. This is not the start they were hoping for.
I've said it many times. Hit the reset button. Just try to go back out there. You can't do anything about the Charlie Blackmon at bat. You got to let that one go and trust that your offense is going to get you some runs. But you can't be walking guys, especially when you play the Rockies at Coors Field. We know how devastating walks can be in front of some of the power hitters that they have. And this ballpark occasionally will play like Coors Field, so don't want to put guys on via the walk.
LeMahieu at first does have 10 stolen bases this year. Chase Anderson, a winner in his previous start. That was Sunday at Petco Park in San Diego. He beat the Padres, gave up only 5 hits in 7 innings, but 3 of the 5 hits were Padre homers.
And there was some question that Chase was possibly tipping his pitches. Chip Hale said they didn't like the way the hitters reacted to some of the pitches. We've talked about this in the past. If you throw a changeup in a 2-0 or 3-1 count, you expect a certain reaction from the hitter. And when the hitter doesn't jump out there, doesn't get out in front of that changeup in a hitter's count, you have to wonder, is he just a real good guess hitter, or is my pitcher tipping something?
Yeah, Chip wondered there was a noticeable lack of swings and misses on the part of the Rocky hitters. And Chase is really struggling right now to throw strikes. He's behind 3-0. He's already walked LeMahieu. 14 pitches so far and more balls than strikes. And trouble lurks in the on-deck circle. Nolan Arenado. That's in there for a strike. 3-1. Drew Tulowitzki riding a 15-game hitting streak, during which he's hitting better than .370. 1 for 4 last night. He struck out twice.
The Rockies don't have a lot of team speed, and they don't steal a lot of bases, with the exception of Charlie Blackmon and the man on first base right now, DJ LeMahieu. Blackmon with 21 steals on the season, LeMahieu with 10.
That's in there. It's full 3-2.
See, that's a reaction you expect to see from a hitter if you throw a changeup on a 3-1 count. Tulowitzki's weight was out on his front foot. His hands started to drag into the hitting zone, and then the changeup just floated by for a called strike.
When it's on, it's one of the better changeups in the National League. A good swing and miss pitch for Chase. 3-2 pitch. There goes LeMahieu off for second. It's ball 4. The first 3 have reached for the Rockies, and here's Arenado. Mike Harkey. Well, asked on Sunday about the 6 homers he's given up in his last 2 starts, now 7 in his last 3. After he'd allowed only 3 homers all season, Chase put it simply, said, look, just 6 bad pitches. That's what he said. 6 home runs, 6 bad pitches. The lesson learned there, other than the fact he needs to spot that fastball better, is at the same time not trying to be too fine out there. Here's Mike Harkey talking about Chase Anderson's recent home run struggles.
When you're facing guys that have had a lot of success off you, when you need to make that pitch in a crucial situation, you're going to always wonder in the back of your head if this is the right pitch. But you know, these are things that he's got to be able to fight through. I mean, you can't tell on a mound, and that's the biggest thing. So the hitter can't tell that he's not convicted to it. I mean, it's just about him and the pitch. So
sounds like a confidence thing.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard it said many times. You got to believe in your stuff, trust your stuff. But after he made a few mistakes, those balls have been hit out of the ballpark. Now all of a sudden, maybe my fastball's not as good as I thought it was. I need to scoot it over a little bit more. Then you're falling behind in counts and walking guys. It just feeds on itself.
Well, Arenado leading the major leagues in RBIs. Pops that one up to Chris Owings, and that's the first out.
Right fielder, number 5, Carlos Gonzalez.
That's a big out under the circumstances. Nolan Arenado, the cleanup hitter for the Rockies, with a couple of runners on base. Pops it up harmlessly to the right side. Big first out of the inning. Now a ground ball, and you could possibly escape with only the 1 run.
Carlos Gonzalez, the hitter. LeMahieu at second, Tulowitzki at first. A run already in on the Charlie Blackmon leadoff homer. Cargo just over 240 with 10 homers. He was hitless last night. How about Arenado going up there, the Major League's leading RBI guy, against a pitcher that can't throw a strike, and he hacks at the first pitch.
You see a lot of that. It used to be if a pitcher was struggling to throw strikes, you would make him throw a strike. Take until you get a strike in your next at bat. But Nolan Arenado hacking at the first pitch he saw close to the zone.
I mean, if you're the Rockies, he's the guy you want up in that spot for sure. 1-1 now. Chase 20 pitches, 10 balls, 10 strikes. Way out in front that time. That's another one of those swings you were talking about, Bob.
That changeup just floating up and away from Carlos Gonzalez. That pitch is never in the strike zone, but I tell you put these run producers in RBI situations and they'll expand their own zone. They want to drive that runner home from second base. We saw Arenado be very aggressive, and now Gonzalez chasing some bad pitches.
A ball and 2 strikes.
That's something that will come up on a scouting report as well. An advanced report. Guys with nobody on base might give you a very patient at bat, look to draw a base on balls or at least see a lot of pitches. But with runners in scoring position, it's exactly the opposite. A lot of hitters are uber aggressive with RBIs on base.
Cliff Pennington getting the start at shortstop tonight, sneaking in there behind LeMahieu. 50% strikes so far. 2-2 to Cargo. 2 on, 1 out.
See, that's good. That's glass half full, half empty. He's thrown half strikes.
Just missed inside, and it's full. 3-2. Willeen Rosario is on deck. Rosario homered against Chase Anderson last week. We did not see Carlos Gonzalez hit in the Diamondbacks last series at Coors Field. Of course, he was out with that hand injury, a left hand sprain at the time. He came back and had a 5-for-5 game at San Francisco last week, but since then, just 3 for his last 24 at the plate. The 3-2 pitch from Chase Anderson. Got him, called strike 3. Manny Gonzalez rings him up. First strikeout for Chase. 2 down.
First baseman, number 20.
Missing away with the changeup, up and out over the plate. He throws one kind of that off the body changeup. Kind of started inside to Carlos Gonzalez and tailed back over that inside corner.
If he gets Rosario here, how big a victory is that for Chase?
That's huge. I mean, he's already thrown 25 pitches in the inning. Rockies are on the board after 1 batter. If you can strand those 2 runners and get your team back in that dugout, only down 1-0, that's been a good inning. Hasn't looked particularly good, but the results would be good if he can escape here.
A homer and 2 walks to start the ball game. Got Arenado to pop up, struck out Gonzalez. Now he's in there against Rosario, who is 6 for 8 career against Chase. The home run coming last week in Denver. 2-0. Now up to 27 pitches in the first, and still more balls than strikes. Base hit by a diving Jake Lamb. Here comes LeMahieu. The ball rolls all the way to the wall. Stu Cole going to wave home Troy Tulowitzki. He will score, and it's 3-0 Colorado. A 2-run double for Willeen Rosario, his 8th this year.
Changeup right down the middle of the plate. Willeen Rosario saw it, kept his hands back, and even though Charlie Blackmon led off the game with the home run, that's the hardest hit ball in the game so far. That was struck well past Jake Lamb down there at third base, and it ends up in the corner.
110 miles an hour off the bat, whizzed by Jake Lamb in the hole at short, and went all the way down to the Diamondback bullpen. So here's the catcher, Nick Hundley. 3-0 Rockies. Rosario at second, 2 outs. That's in there for a strike, 0-1. Nick Hundley hitting just under 300 this year. 6 homers and 27 RBIs, already more than his totals from last season when he split the year between the Padres and the Orioles. Now here in Colorado on a 2-year deal. This was the pitching line last Tuesday at Coors Field. 8 runs all earned in 4 2/3. 3 home runs allowed. Arenado got him twice, Rosario once. 1-1 pitch. 1-2. Nick Hundley's had a good year for the Rockies, especially at the Diamondbacks' expense. Hitting nearly 370. Rosario at second after his 2-run double. Just inside, it's even 2-2. Charlie Blackmon, a leadoff homer, his 3rd of the year. LeMahieu walked, Tulowitzki walked. Rosario drove them both in. 3-0. Lamb. And the inning finally ends for Chase Anderson, but the Rockies put up a 3 spot. Diamondbacks coming up against Kyle Kendrick. lead it off against your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Rockies. It's the veteran right-hander, Kyle Kendrick. Pitching tonight in a hitter's ballpark, he has surrendered more home runs than any pitcher in baseball. And A.J. Pollock homered off him last week at Coors Field. Here he is.
He likes to throw a lot of pitches. He likes to hit the corners, and we're just gonna have to do a good job of getting his pitches more on the plate as opposed to the corners, and making sure we're swinging at our pitches, not his. And if we do that, I think we'll be all right. If we don't, then he's going to get some outs, and hopefully I think we got a good plan right now, and hopefully it works.
The numbers on Kyle Kendrick: 3-10, the ERA over 6. The issue has been the homers. 23 home runs allowed in 96 innings.
And he's had first inning troubles of his own. Chase Anderson gave up 3 in the top half of the inning. Kyle Kendrick has given up 16 first inning runs this season. Only Jeff Samardzija and who's Jay Nelson? What's his first name?
Jimmy Nelson from
Jimmy
the Brewers.
Nelson. There you go.
Yeah, the Brewers pitcher.
All I can think of was Jeff Nelson, the former reliever for the Yankees.
AJ leads it off. 301 and now 10 homers. He got number 10 here last night. A solo shot in the 6th inning that tied it 1. And that was really the tone setter for the Diamondbacks, who came up with 8 unanswered. A bouncer to Tulowitzki at short. A lineup for Chip Hale's Arizona Diamondbacks tonight.
A.J. Pollock once again at the top of the order. He'll be out in center field. David Peralta in left field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Yasmani Tomas cleaning up, playing right field. Jake Lamb at third. Wellington Castillo doing the catching. Chris Owings and Cliff Pennington make up the double play combo. Owings at second, Pennington at short, and Chase Anderson, the righty, on the mound.
David Peralta in the 2-hole. And the shift is on for the Rockies. Tulowitzki on the second base, or on the first base side of second. He's over there with second base umpire Fieldon Culbert. Peralta 270 and 7 homers. The bat has come alive as of late against lefties and righties. That's where the statue will go one day, right there.
That's where it should go.
Back foot up against that railing in the on-deck circle. I would talk to the marketing folks. We should paint those seats. Make those the 44 seats, the Goldie seats. Right behind the Diamondback on deck circle, where Goldie always stands with his back foot against that railing.
And I'm guessing he goes to that same spot every time, because when he takes his stance, it's as close to simulating what he's going to see in the batter's box. Same angle.
David Peralta, that one's going to roll all the way to the wall, and the freight train is leaving the station. It's going to stop at second base. David Peralta getting it cranked up here with his 15th double. Stopped 1 gear short of overdrive there.
And it's a good thing. He's in scoring position there at second base. It was going to be quite a risk to try to make it to third base, but he always gives himself a chance. Boy, squared that ball up nicely. Tailing fastball on the outer third of the plate. Hit it right by Charlie Blackmon into that gap in left center field. And this is why he always has a chance to possibly go 3. He busted out of that batter's box.
I remember Kevin Towers telling us that was the first thing he noticed about David Peralta, was the way he ran the bases when he was in minor league camp 2 springs ago. That's when he really first got on their radar. Here's Goldie. And Goldie lifts it high and deep, way back. It hits the wall. Peralta will score, and Goldie will stop at second. Back-to-back doubles, and the Diamondbacks are on the board. 18th double for Goldie. It's 3-1. Well, we might be in for a long one here, BB. Settle in.
Buckle up. Goldie getting a middle of the plate fastball to start his sequence. Hit it off the end of the bat just a little bit, but put it in a good spot, and watch how soft it lands on the grass out there. Forcing the Rockies to pick it up. Barnes fanned on it. Ultimately, Charlie Blackmon picks it up and gets it back in, but Goldie in scoring position at second after his 18th double of the season.
And here is Yasmani Tomas.
Goldie on the season now, hitting over 375 in the first inning. 5 homers, 3 doubles, and 15 driven in. And now Kendrick up to 17 first inning runs allowed, tied for second most in the majors with that Nelson guy.
Jimmy's down. 318 and 4 homers. Kendrick ahead, no balls and 2 strikes, and Tomas not thrilled with Manny Gonzalez's call there. David Peralta in a full lather here, running around the bases.
Well, close. Chase Anderson wants that pitch too.
0-2. Called strike 3. First strikeout for Kendrick. Well, he got the call on 0-2, and he went right back there to get the strikeout.
Maybe scooted it out just a little bit. You see Hundley moves off the corner. That tailing action on that sinking fastball gets it close to the outside corner.
Sorta.
Kind of sorta.
Jake Lamb now. Another run sitting out there at second with 2 outs. Jake 273, a pair of homers, and the Rockies put the shift on. Tulowitzki moves to the first base side of second. Here's the strike. Jake 9 hits in his last 8 games. The view from the batter's box suite here at Chase Field on 4th of July weekend. That's headed for the seats and out of play. Big plans to join us here tomorrow. Going to be a fun day, 4th of July, the big post-game fireworks spectacular. And Ralph Kelso, our spot-on weatherman, assured us yesterday that things look good for fireworks.
Confidence is high.
And Patrick Corbin will make his 2015 debut. Back from Tommy John surgery, the Diamondbacks earlier today officially announced Patrick as their starter tomorrow. And what a moment that's going to be. We did not see Patrick last year. He suffered the elbow injury in spring training just as we were leaving for Sydney. His numbers in 2013 when he was an All-Star. 11-1 before the All-Star break.
Yeah, kind of ran out of gas a little bit at the end of the season. Certainly expected for a guy.
Jake Lamb shoots it down the right field line. That's a fair ball. Goldie will score. Cargo falls down and Lamb is headed for third. He's going to make it. 3-2. Gonzalez slipped and fell on the warning track, and that allowed Lamb to pick up an extra 90 feet.
Jake's starting to shorten up that swing and make better contact. Rips this ball down into the right field corner. That abbreviated follow through finishes almost right after the point of contact. Carlos Gonzalez goes down in a heap on the warning track, and Jake Lamb turned the bag at second, ends up at third base with a 2-out triple.
104 miles an hour. He yanked that one fair down the right field line. He's standing at third now with 2 outs for Wellington Castillo. Castillo homered off Kyle Kendrick last week at Coors Field. Castillo, his numbers with 3 teams combined this year. It's been quite a journey. 206, 6 home runs, 4 of those homers coming with the Diamondbacks.
fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Two balls and a strike. Driven to left center field. Brandon Barnes runs it down. He can fly out there and cover a lot of ground. They strand Lamb at third, but they get 2. David Peralta finds a gap. So does Paul Goldschmidt. After 1, the Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 3-2. You to tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag AZDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself at an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. A lot of fans with us here at the ballpark. 100 degrees outside in downtown Phoenix. A nice comfortable 78 here inside Chase Field. A perfect spot to spend your 4th of July weekend watching Diamondback baseball. Brandon Barnes, who made a nice catch to take extra bases away from Wellington Castillo in the left center field gap, leads off the second with strike 1. Barnes at .283 and 1 homer. Well, those 2 runs the Diamondbacks got back in the bottom of the first, Bob, maybe making Chase feel a little more comfortable out there.
And probably makes Kyle Kendrick's teammates feel a little uncomfortable. Here we go again.
It has been a recurrent theme. In the seats. Chase, after that start Sunday in San Diego, admitted the fastball command wasn't really that good. And when he doesn't have the ability to spot that fastball like he normally does, that means, he says, he has to go to plan B. And plan B involves throwing more off-speed pitches than you normally like to. A high chopper to second. Chris Owens is there.
One of the issues with facing the same team 3 or 4 or 5 times a season. They know your strengths and weaknesses. They know that if Chase Anderson doesn't have good fastball command, he's probably going to go to that straight changeup, which is his best swing and a miss pitch. It's his out pitch when he's in trouble, and we've seen the Rockies stay back and hit some changeups really hard, not only today but in his last start against the Rockies.
Kyle Kendrick, the pitcher. Is the difference there relying on that off-speed stuff and the changeup to try and get back into counts instead of using them as, say, put-away pitches to end at-bats?
Well, like you said, you go to plan B. You sense right away I'm not commanding my fastball well. I've made some mistakes. Rockies are a good fastball hitting team. If I'm going to get beat, I'm going to get beat on what I consider to be my best pitch. And for Chase, that's a straight changeup. It's kind of your security blanket. When nothing else is working, you've always got that changeup in your back pocket. But the Rockies know that.
Yeah. One-two pitch. Chase with that fastball tries to stay in the zone often enough and work those corners, and he's able to hit those spots, and then he can use that off-speed stuff to try and get the hitters to expand their strike zones and chase those pitches. Fastball there, 3-2. Castillo hangs on. The foul tip. Second strikeout for Chase. 2 up, 2 down in the second. And here's Blackmon.
Let's take a look at our Geico this day in Major League Baseball history. We go back to July 3rd, 1995. One of the original Blake Street Bombers, Andres Galarraga, goes 6 for 6 against the Houston Astros, a 15-10 Rockies win. And we talk about the Blake Street Bombers all the time. And for the younger fans out there who aren't familiar with what we're talking about, look at these numbers, and it goes even deeper than that. Those are just the 3 leaders in home runs on the team each one of those particular seasons. In 1995, Galarraga had 31 home runs. He couldn't even make the list. Dante Bichette had 31 in 1996. He couldn't make the list. And in 97, Ellis Burks had 32 and Dante Bichette had 26. They couldn't make the list. That was entertaining offensive baseball.
Just try and club them to death. And they often did. Blackmon homer to lead off the ball game. His 11th of the year. Fly ball to center field. It backs up A.J. Pollock drifting over toward left center. And a nice bounce back inning there for Chase. A 1-2-3 second. It's 3-2 Rockies.
Chris, 3 for 10 on this homestand, batting .232 on the season, and struggled, of course, coming off the shoulder surgery. This year has a different swing, and it was the topic for Chip Hale during today's pregame media session. He said, look, we do have concerns, but it is a work in progress. We're going to get him through it. We're going to work through it. And one thing, obviously, with that new swing, he can't extend that left arm anymore. But he said recently, twice, in fact, his left hand did come off the bat. He did extend that arm, and he said, look, he's not sure, though, that's the best thing for him long term with the health of that shoulder. In the meantime, Chris Owings is just working on pitch recognition, and there are drills that he works with Mike Fetters as far as throwing different pitches, different locations, and that right now is something he's also working on, as well as getting that swing right, guys.
And CO leads off the Diamondbacks second against Kyle Kendrick. 232, 2 home runs. It has been a problem. He's struck out 10 times in his last 23 at bats. Another 0-2 count. Rockies overload the left-hand side of the infield.
And you see where they go on the 0-2 count. Right away to that slider, starting it on the outer third of the plate, break it out of the zone. That's the one that Chris has really had problems laying off of. We talk all the time about the advanced scouts, and they've seen it. They've made notes on their reports, and opposing teams are going to keep going out there.
And he strikes out to open up the second.
And it's amazing in Major League Baseball. We've seen opposing teams consistently do this to Chris Owings, and until he either lays off that pitch or starts making contact and driving it to the opposite field, he's going to continue to see sliders in the dirt low and away.
Cliff Pennington getting the start at shortstop. And Cliff has had a very productive bat as of late. 8 for his last 18 at the plate. 216 on the year.
Some quality at bats in that stretch as well. He doesn't always get a hit, but he sees a lot of pitches, takes his walks if they don't throw him anything to hit. Even a lot of his outs over the course of the last 11 games have been hit right on the button.
He's ahead 2-0.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
This is Pennington's 11th start this year at shortstop. He's played more at short by far than anywhere else this year. Twice as many innings, in fact. Nick Ahmed with the night off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Third strikeout for Kendrick. Brings up Chase Anderson.
Pitcher number 57, Chase Anderson.
It's funny how this game of baseball works. Both starting pitchers got banged around pretty good in that first inning, struggled to find the strike zone. When they did throw strikes, they got hit hard. And Chase Anderson comes right back out, puts a 1-2-3 inning up in the second, and Kyle Kendrick on the verge of doing the same thing.
A chance to strike out the side here in order. And he does just that. He gets Owings, Pennington, and Anderson to strike out the side. After 2, Diamondbacks trail at 3-2. D-backs and Giants. That's a 5-10 start. First 20,000 fans will get this A.J. Pollock Star Wars Jedi bobblehead, including lightsaber. So one-of-a-kind item courtesy of Cox Communications. Get your tickets now at dbacks.com.
Maybe even got that 5 o'clock shadow on there.
They had a lightsaber sound effect they're very proud of, too. Our crew's been working extra hard lately. DJ LeMahieu will lead off the third. I still think AJ's bobblehead looks like one of the Property Brothers. I forget which guy's which, the real estate guy or the fix-it guy, but
one sells them and one demos. Yeah.
LeMahieu walked and scored his first time up. Chase Anderson, after that rough first, has retired 4 straight. And already at 50 pitches. Headed for the right field corner, but out of play.
We mentioned briefly earlier that there was some question as to whether Chase might be tipping his pitches because of the way the hitters were reacting or not reacting the way you expected them to, and it's not always the pitcher. Sometimes the middle infielders will take a step one direction or the other a little bit too soon, which will be an indicator to the hitter what you might be throwing.
And Monty Tomas makes a nice running catch.
Sometimes it can be the catcher who falls into patterns calling pitches behind the plate. I remember when we used to play the Pittsburgh Pirates and Tony Pena was their catcher. Every time you had a runner on first base who was a threat to steal, you could be sure you were going to get fastballs. Because he wanted to give himself every possible chance to throw those runners out at second. So sometimes it's not always the pitcher that's actually tipping the pitches. It could be the catcher falling into patterns calling signs. It could be the defense moving just a little bit too soon, tipping to the hitter what pitch might possibly be coming.
Tony Pena catching back there with that leg extended all the way out to the side. Tulowitzki walked and scored his first time up. Little fly ball to Peralta.
Well, that was a sight. You go to Three River Stadium to play against the Pirates, and we'd be out on the field kind of waiting for the Pirates to get ready and take their batting practice. And Tony Pena would walk out of the clubhouse, up the tunnel, out the dugout, pick up a baseball, and the first ball he threw was about 95 miles an hour. I swear he had no ligaments or tendons in his arm whatsoever. Took absolutely no warm-up throws. Just came out firing every day.
Arenado popped up his first time up.
Friday's front row. Nice place to be tonight.
Tony Pena
just about every night.
Yeah, exactly. Tony Pena played 18 years in the big leagues.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Four-time Gold Glove winner, catcher. 1-1 pitch. Jake Lamb. Nice hands down there at third, and Chase Anderson has set down 7 in a row. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Goldie, Goldie, Goldie when we come back. chance to win 2 seats on the Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express bus presented by Cox Communications. You'll get round-trip transportation to the Diamondback game on July 18th. And also, July 18th, you'll meet A.J. Pollock, who will be at the store from 10:30 to 11:30 in the morning. And, of course, that's A.J. Pollock's Star Wars bobblehead night. Bob Brenly has got the model right in front of him here as A.J. leads off the bottom of the 3rd against Kyle Kendrick. And he hits that one fine. That's a great-looking bobblehead. There it is.
A.J. had a little bit too much coffee before this game.
Got the lightsaber in there and everything. That's Saturday, July 18th, Star Wars night. Diamondbacks and Giants, a 5:10 start. First 20,000 fans. Brought to you by Cox Communications. A.J. laces this one down the other line now. He's behind 0-2. Kyle Kendrick beat the Diamondbacks at Coors Field. That was last Tuesday. Didn't exactly shut them down. 4 runs allowed on 8 hits. He pitched 6 innings. The Diamondbacks homered off Kendrick 3 times. Wellington Castillo, Nick Ahmed, and A.J. Pollock. They all took Kendrick deep in that ball game, but the Rockies won it 10-5, and Kendrick got the win. And that was his only win in 6 starts last month. 23 home runs allowed, the most in the major leagues. 3 balls, 2 strikes. A bouncer back to the mound. Kendrick snags it. And that's the first out in the 3rd.
Take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the ball game tonight. Keep eating. Worked last night. That means you hit a home run, you get a burger. You win a game, you get a pizza. You score 5, you get some tacos. And we talked about the Diamondbacks being aggressive on the bases, going all the way back to that Dodgers series. And they've carried their aggressiveness just a little too far the last couple of ball games. Need to rein it back in. Be intelligently aggressive on the bases.
David Peralta. Rockies overloaded the left-hand side against Pollock. Now they overload the right-hand side against Peralta. Keep eating. We like the theme there.
Talking about the overly aggressive base running. They've made 8 outs on the bases in this series already. 3 pickoffs, a couple of caught stealing, 2 outfield assists, and the unfortunate overslide at third base by Aaron Hill in yesterday's ball game.
Here's a look at the Rockies defense for David Peralta. Well, David, a pair of hits last night, including that 2-run triple. He doubled and scored his first time up tonight. He has been beating up on Rockies pitching this year. One up the first base line. Nice play by Rosario down there. That's the second out.
Rosario has done a nice job down there at first base. He's a work in progress, no question about it, and he's much better moving to his left as he does on this 2-hopper off the bat of David Peralta than he is when he has to go to that backhand side. Easy play this time for Rosario. He takes it himself.
Goldie an RBI double his first time up. He also scored a run. .354 to lead the major leagues. And he's 3 behind the Rockies' Nolan Arenado for the major league RBI lead. Goldzilla. Goldie on base 3 times last night, 2 singles and a walk. He's hit safely in 12 of his last 13 games. Popped him up back here. This was Paul Goldschmidt following a Peralta double. They went back to back. Drove in the first Diamondback run. Jake Lamb followed with an RBI triple. Rockies with 3 in the top of the first. Diamondbacks with 2 in the home half. Base hit. Goldie 2 for 2.
I'll tell you, no matter how you break it down or what category you look at, Goldie's among the best hitters in baseball, especially in the National League. In the first 3 innings of a ball game, he leads the National League with a batting average of over .393 before this base hit. As a matter of fact, 3 guys that are among the top 5 in the National League are in this game tonight. Goldie's number 1 in the National League. Yasmani Tomas is number 4 with his .365 batting average. And DJ LeMahieu from the Rockies at .362 in the first 3 innings of a game.
Tomas struck out looking his first time up. Rolls this one up the middle, but Tulowitzki's there. The flip to LeMahieu for the force on Goldie. That's the inning. Through 3. D-backs trail at 3-2. FIFA Women's World Cup final is here. It's a rematch 4 years in the making. Alex Morgan and Team USA take on defending champion Japan to see who gets the World Cup championship. Coverage begins Sunday, 2 o'clock Pacific, only on your local Fox station and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. We go to the 4th. Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 3-2. Chase Anderson, since a bumpy 3-run Colorado first, has retired 7 straight. And Cargo leads off the 4th. He struck out looking his first time up. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. They overload the right-hand side.
I never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but I'm looking forward to that soccer game tomorrow. That's been a very exciting tournament.
I will have to say, you were watching not only the Team USA game on Fox the other day, but you were watching the other game, Japan-England, to see who they would play. You were into it.
Doing some scouting, yeah. Boy, what a crushing loss for England, the way that thing, oh, man.
Yeah. I've tried to get you to watch Premier League soccer in Chelsea, Arsenal, Man U. You have no interest, but I tell you what, that World Cup comes on Fox and you are glued. So Sunday's the big game.
I like the way the women play the game. Not as much diving, flopping all around the field.
Futures Field. Coach Sean Payton, coach him up down there.
Headphones got to go, Sam.
What is that?
Watch out.
Tell you what, he hits like that, he can wear the headphones all he wants.
Exit velocity 110.
2-2 pitch. Sky high pop up. Right side, who wants it? Jake Lamb is there. 8 straight set down by Chase Anderson. You got a soccer, you got an LA Galaxy shirt on, I think. Sean Payton, watch that release point right there.
Good advice. There you go.
Willeen Rosario, a 2-run double back in the first. Charlie Blackmon led off the game with a home run, his 3rd leadoff homer this year. And then Chase walked LeMahieu and Tulowitzki. Rosario drove both of them in with his 2-run double, and that was your 3-run Rocky first. Diamondbacks answered in the home half. Back-to-back doubles by Peralta and Goldie. An RBI triple by Jake Lamb. What do you think Chase has changed here, Bob, after that upsetting first inning? He's retired 8 straight.
Well, his fastball command is still a little bit spotty, and he hasn't thrown a curveball for a strike yet in this game. I think it's more a byproduct of the Rockies being overly aggressive and swinging at some of those borderline fastballs as opposed to that first inning when they took a couple of walks and hit it when it was in the strike zone. Sometimes it's not so much that the pitcher has improved, it's just that the offense has gotten a little crazy up there. A feeding frenzy after that first inning.
Well, these guys can be like sharks on Shark Week, especially this guy against the Diamondbacks. I mean, the series we just played at Coors Field last week, Rosario, 7 hits and 11 at bats. Set up down and away, went down and got a piece of it to stay alive. So Rosario with his double tonight has now hit safely in 8 straight games against the Diamondbacks. Just not as sharp as we're used to seeing Chase, that's for sure. Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him. 3rd strikeout for Chase Anderson. 2 down.
Good curveball that time. Great location. Started about belt high, bottoms out below the bottom of the strike zone, and gets a swing and a miss from Rosario. Yeah, Willeen Rosario is a good off-speed hitter if it's in the strike zone, but if you can get him to chase off-speed pitches around the edges, he'll get himself out.
Baseball fans, great weekend to be here. July 4th weekend. Come on down tomorrow. Big 4th of July celebration plan here at the ballpark, including our annual post-game July 4th fireworks show. Big swing and a miss there by Nick Hundley.
Well, last time he just cuts right to the chase. I enjoy baseball.
Behind the bag, and what a recovery it's been for Chase Anderson. He's retired 10 in a row. Don't forget, tomorrow Patrick Corbin back off Tommy John surgery, his first start since September of 2013. Join us at Chase Field. We'll have it for you on Fox Sports Arizona Diamondback Live pregame show at 6:30. Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 3-2. Kyle Kendrick out there for the home half of the fourth. It'll be Jake Lamb, Wellington Castillo, and Chris Owings for the Diamondbacks. Jake Lamb, an RBI triple. His first time up, his second triple this year. And Chip Hale told us that that foot injury that kept Jake out for more than 40 games really hurt his progress. But, you know, slowly that swing, and Bob, you mentioned this last time up, the swing has become shorter than it was before, just like it was before the foot injury.
Very abbreviated follow through.
Rockies put the shift on. Arenado all by himself on the left-hand side. Pops it up. Arenado. Oh, he's the only guy over there.
Not a great swing that time. A bad pitch selection, but his first at bat, this is that quick abbreviated swing, the short follow through. That's when Jake Lamb is at his best. It allows him to really wait a long time and recognize the pitch and be quick to the ball.
It's Derek Peacock and the family here at the ballpark. Derek, I don't have a feeling he's going to get to watch much of the game tonight, but that's probably okay.
You better watch the kids anyway.
Wellington Castillo.
Boy, if Wellington Castillo had pulled the ball just maybe 15 or 20 feet more the last couple of days, he'd probably have about 5 home runs. He's hit some long, towering fly balls out there to the deepest part of the ballpark near the 413 mark in left center, and has very little to show for it lately.
He's hit them on either side of the home run deck, sometimes to the center field side, other times to the left field side. Brandon Barnes made a nice running catch in the gap to retire the side, and Wellington's first at bat. But yeah, they've squared up every one. Just some loud outs.
Hitting the barrel on it, maybe under just a hair, but for Wellington Castillo, that's his game. That's why he's here. 13 home runs with the Cubs last year as a part-time player. This is a guy with regular at-bats, regular playing time, projects to be a 20 to 30 home run guy.
The 2-1 misses. It's 3 balls and a strike. Now Wellington over his last 14 games, hitting just over 300. And it's just been a bunch of extra base hits. 4 doubles, 3 homers, 10 RBIs.
Well, you like your offense moving forward if you can get 25 or 30 bombs from the catching position.
Didn't see that coming at the start of the year. Kendrick comes in there with a strike. It's full 3-2.
Change up with a lot of fading action.
Wellington, a little running conversation now with Manny Gonzalez behind the plate. Now the same pitch. It's a bouncer to Tulowitzki. Boy, Kendrick's been going there all night long. That little 2-seam sinker down and away to right-handers.
We'll talk about the comfort zone for Chase Anderson. When he gets in trouble, he goes to the changeup. That's his comfort pitch, the one he feels like he can throw for a strike most often where he wants it. For Kyle Kendrick, both the 2-seam sinker and the changeup to that outside corner is his comfort zone.
Chris Owings struck out his last time up. Chris hit just under 220 in June, and still, as Jody told us earlier, trying to find that swing again, coming off the shoulder injury that hampered him all last year and has been a problem this season as well. Trying to keep both hands on the bat in that follow through. And they say that'll help alleviate some of the stress on the shoulder. Keep both hands on the bat all the way through the swing. And that's the big adjustment for Chris this year. Hand used to come flying off there. But they felt like that was adding to the wear and tear on the shoulders, so he's had to change some things up, and it's a work in progress. Turner Ward, the hitting coach, Glenn Sherlock, the bench coach, Chip Hill there. A roller away from the shift and into right center. Owens is aboard with a 2-out single.
So easy to take advantage of that pull shift, especially when the pitcher throws you a pitch on that outside part of the plate. Just do what CO did right there. They used to call it playing pepper. If they're going to give you that big of a hole on the infield, just imagine you're playing pepper with your teammates before a ball game, which they don't do a lot of. But it was an old game where you lined up 3 or 4 players and one guy with a bat, and you'd stand there and toss the ball, and you'd just hit one hoppers back to the defenders over and over and over again. And it prepares you for that kind of an at-bat.
And of course, then you would always see the sign somewhere behind home plate on the stadium that said "No pepper."
No pepper.
Why the anti-pepper movement?
Well, they just didn't want you to play pepper right behind home plate or in front of the dugouts where you would, mess up the grass and put divots in the ground. You can play pepper in the outfield. They got no problem with that. Or out on the warning track. They just don't want you to do it around home plate where it's going to mess up the aesthetic of the ballpark. Pepper has kind of been replaced by a game called flips, where guys get in a circle with their gloves and there's one baseball and you have to shovel the ball to one of the other people in the circle, and if you hold it too long in your glove, you're penalized. If you flip it up above the shoulders, you're penalized, and there's a lot of different rules, but it's just one of those time wasting games that players have come up with over the years to kill time before that first pitch.
Now they have social media.
Yeah, they got that.
Kendrick at 60 pitches, 40 for strikes, 1 and 2 on Pennington.
I'll tell you how much the game has changed. When I first started going to minor league camp with the Giants, pepper was part of our daily routine.
Okay.
Yeah, you do your stretching, you do your running, and then you break up into groups of 5, and there'd be 4 defenders and one guy with a bat, and you'd stand there and play pepper for 15 or 20 minutes, take turns hitting and fielding. There might be guys on that field right now that have no idea what pepper is.
It's on the spread, right?
Yeah.
After the game.
It's right there next to the salt.
Pepper. 2 outs, Owens at first. Diamondbacks have out-hit the Rockies 5-2, but they trail it 3-2. Both Rockies hits coming in the first against Chase Anderson. The Blackman leadoff homer. The Rosario 2-run double. Center field, a base hit for Pennington. A pair of 2-out singles for the Diamondbacks brings up Chase Anderson. Boy, Cliff is 9 for his last 20 up there.
Stayed on that nice changeup fading down low and away with a lot of movement. Stayed right on it, lined it back up the middle of the field. That's a great approach against everything Kendrick is throwing up there tonight, tailing away from the left-handed hitters.
2 on and 2 out for Chase, who struck out his first time. Pennington wandered well off the bag down there at first, but Rosario, playing behind the runner, was nowhere near the base, so there was no one to throw to. Not even in the picture there. There he is. Look at Cliff. Is this okay? Can I keep going? Yeah, sure. There's a strike, and it's 0-2.
We talked about this the other day. As the base runner at first base, if you're the trail runner, you really have to rely on that first base coach to let you know when that first baseman is breaking in behind. Obviously, Cliff facing the pitcher and then watching the ball into the hitting zone, and If Rosario decides to sneak in behind, Cliff wouldn't see it. That's why Dave McKay is lined up the way he is.
Dave McKay coaching at first.
Trust your stuff, trust your instincts, but above all, trust your coaches. They're out there to help you as a base runner. That's their sole job.
Kendrick bounces that one, and Anderson is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Big game tomorrow. Be here at Chase Field or join us on Fox Sports Arizona. 7:10 start, 6:30 Diamondback Live pregame show. The return of Patrick Corbin on the 4th of July. Post-game fireworks. That is one of the calendar nights to be here. And if you can't join us for whatever reason, we'll have it for you here on Fox Sports Arizona. 2-2 pitch. Anderson strikes out. Diamondbacks strand 2. They are out hitting the Rockies 6-2, but they trail it 3-2. Happy birthday to the Diamondbacks Senior Vice President of Communications, celebrating his 39th birthday. Just kidding, they put the 4-0 up there. Just to have some fun with a former IU Hoosier. And here's some photos of young Josh. Used to work for the Dodgers. How about this one?
Wow.
The prom photo. Got some game. He was the envy of the campus in Bloomington, I'm sure, just fighting him off. I told you to watch.
Sitting with Tony La Russa and Judd Norris, the Vice President of Corporate Partnerships, up in the suite here at the ballpark.
Happy birthday, Josh Rowett.
A long time with the Dodgers, and then Josh learned the error of his ways.
Brandon Barnes drives 1-2 Tomas. Yasmani at the wall, and he's got it. Boy, he timed that beautifully, just waited on it, and then the pirouette for the first out. 11 straight set down by Chase.
Seemingly does something every day that makes you say, man, this guy can play the game. He knew he was getting close to the barrier, wasn't sure exactly how close because he was running at a diagonal across the warning track, but timed his jump perfectly.
Kyle Kendrick drives it to right center. A.J. Pollock is there very quickly. 2 outs for Anderson. But it looked like we were going to be in for a real slugfest here in the first inning, but 2 pitches on 2 outs in the 5th. He's retired 12 straight.
That should never happen. Kyle Kendrick swinging at the first pitch after a 1-pitch out. I mean, what's he going to do? Hit a home run? He needs to take until he gets 2 strikes after a 1-pitch at bat.
Well, Charlie Blackmon hit a home run to lead off the ball game, his 11th of the year. And he'll hit with 2 down in the 5th.
And because of 2 pitches, 2 outs, Charlie Blackmon is almost obliged to take until he gets at least 1 strike in this at bat. Right away, jump ahead right away. He's showing bunt there. He had no intention of bunting. He just wanted to try to distract Chase Anderson. He was going to take that pitch all the way.
Last base runner allowed by Chase Anderson was Rosario's 2-run double in the 1st. Blackmon lifts this in the air to center field. A.J. Pollock. Anderson has retired 13 straight with some help from Yasmani Tomas. A 5-pitch 5th that's still 3-2 Rockies. Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
Back here at Chase Field on this Friday night. Tomorrow, of course, July 4th, and it is a big day for Patrick Corbin and the D-backs as he will return to the mound for the first time since Tommy John surgery in March of last year. The 16th month process is over, and so Patrick, he says he's ready to go, and you see him right now. He's talking to Gerald Laird right there, but he said yesterday he spent the time talking to Jared Saltalamacchia, who will catch him tomorrow, and they went through the Rockies lineup, talked a lot about what pitches Patrick throws, what he's comfortable with, and he's going to be limited to about 90 pitches, guys, and less than 100 each outing for the rest of the season. But as far as what pitches he throws, he's ready to go. He says he feels good about all of them, including the slider, which was that last pitch to throw in the rehab process. And Mike Harkey said, look, we're going to limit him to 90, but he should go out there with the mentality that he's going to throw 180. He's ready to go. We're excited to see what he can do.
A.J. Pollock trying to stretch that into a double, and he's safe at second. LeMahieu missed the tag. A.J. dropped it into very shallow left field in front of Brandon Barnes. They had him dead to rights down there. Tom Reynolds, the bench coach, on the phone. Watch the hand of A.J. Pollock here.
Yeah, the swim move, put the left hand out there, then pull it back and get the right one on the base.
That's a Mike Trout slide right there.
Yeah. Nicely done right there. We saw a couple of Diamondbacks with bad slides into second base that cost them possible extra base hits. This is a great slide by A.J.
And a great call by the crew chief, Fielding Culbreth over there. Rockies are looking at it right now. Tom Reynolds waiting. A.J. being very aggressive out there. One more look. There's that medium part right there where he switched hands. And they're going to challenge the call. Walt Weiss will challenge the call at second. There is that moment, Bob, where LeMahieu still has the glove on him or close to him, and A.J. switches hands on the bases. That might be where they think they have an opening here. And in any case, it's another replay review brought to you by Mix One.
Well, the Rockies don't really do anything in a quick, timely fashion, so it's no surprise that it took them a while to decide to appeal this play at second base. We'll get another look. Great camera work by our crew. There's the hand on the base. There's the tag. I think he slid the left hand right on the bag. I don't know if he was ever totally off the base.
That's the only thing that the Rockies could possibly be looking at, because that front hand is clearly in there first.
About 6 sets of eyes to see everything you have to see on this play to make a proper call. The right hand on the bag. He's clearly safe there. But then the tag is applied. Did the right hand slide off ever so slightly before the left hand got on the bag? And if indeed it did, was LeMahieu holding the tag on AJ at that particular time?
I don't think that angle we just saw is by any means conclusive. And if it's not, then the call has to stand. With Jim Reynolds over there with Field and Culbreth. One more look. There's the one hand. There's the glove. There's the other hand.
I don't see anything there that would cause you to overturn that call.
A different angle now. He's safe there too.
Give Field and Culbreth some credit too. A lot of times an umpire will get caught just standing flat-footed, like a player gets caught standing flat-footed sometimes, and you don't give yourself a good angle to really see that play at second base. But you could clearly see Field and Culbreth moving to get himself in the best possible position to see as much as he could see on that play.
He's known as Cubby by his colleagues, Field and Culbreth. He's been a World Series umpire. And when they have to look this long in New York, they're looking for something, because they can't find an angle that gives them clear and convincing evidence, which is what they need to overturn the call. This is a long one.
This is a long one, which tends to make me believe that they're not seeing anything that's causing them to change their mind.
AJ taking the opportunity to go down there and check in with Dave McKay at first. Headset's about to come off here. And he is out at second. The Rockies win the challenge.
Wow.
And now Field and Culbreth explaining to A.J. Pollock and Chip Hale what they were told from New York. Remember, this umpiring crew here does not make the call. Once the headsets go on, the call is made in New York. And that's one reason why it does little good at all to argue with the umpires in the ball game. They didn't make the call. So Walt Weiss retains his challenge. And it's a single 7-4 on the putout of Pollock at second. And the updated replay reviews and Diamondback games this season brought to you by Mix One. David Peralta. No, I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah. You can hear that in New York.
Apparently there was a call in the Yankee-Tampa Bay game, which is in the 12th inning now, tied at 3. A very picky replay call that erased Evan Longoria off the bases in a key juncture of the ball game. I'll wait to see that one a little bit later. I can't believe it'd be any closer than the one we just saw.
Well, that'll be a big call if Peralta gets a base hit here. He lifts it in the air to left center field. Barnes coming in. We think this is the best angle that we have here. Right hand is in there. There's the tag. I still don't see it. So 2 down for Goldie now. Base is empty. He is 2 for 2, an RBI double and a single. He scored a run. I love the reaction from D-back fans here.
Get involved. I like it.
The Boo Birds are out. Up the middle, LeMahieu has it. The jump throw across his body is right there to Rosario. And Kyle Kendrick is out in the inning through 5. Diamondbacks still trail it 3-2. Rockies 7-2, but they trail it 3-2. Chase Anderson, who gave up a Charlie Blackmon homer to lead off the ball game and a 2-run double by Willeen Rosario later in that first inning, has retired the last 13 Rockies he's faced. But he still trails it, and now he'll work to LeMahieu, Tulowitzki, and Arenado 2, 3, and 4 in the Colorado 6th.
Talk about settling in through 33 pitches in the first inning, only 42 since.
LeMahieu walked and scored a run. He lined out to Tomas his last time up. He's 0 for 1. We spent the commercial break looking at different angles of the A.J. Pollock play at second base, and we still have yet to find clear and convincing evidence that he was out at second. All the same angles that you've seen at home. We took another look at, still couldn't find it, but we play on here. 2-1.
You talked about the 2 big hits in that first inning for the Rockies. The leadoff homer by Charlie Blackmon, the double by Rosario to drive home 2, and the 2 guys he drove home reached via walk. So just all in all, a terrible first inning for Chase Anderson, but shook that off and has gone on to pitch an outstanding ball game from that point forward.
Strike call there. It's 2-2. The 13 consecutive batters retired by Chase is a career high. And that 33 pitch first inning, a distant memory now the way he's been going, coming off a 5-pitch fifth. Called strike 3. 4 strikeouts for Chase Anderson. And now Manny Gonzalez is here, and it from the Rocky hitters. Yikes. Chase at 80 pitches, 49 strikes. Here's Tulowitzki. Walked and scored in the first, flying out his last time up. Pulls it foul down the left field line. It's
kind of been a weak spot for Tulowitzki this season against the Diamondbacks. We've seen him swing right through a lot of fastballs up in the zone, up around the letters, even a little bit higher.
Did it twice last night against Jeremy Hellickson. Back to the well one more time, but Tulo lays off. Tulowitzki has hit safely in 27 of his last 28 games. And during that stretch, he's hitting better than .390. Shoots it out toward Tomas, and that's a base hit. A stretch of 14 straight retired by Chase ends with Tulowitzki's one-out single. So Tulo extends his hitting streak. It's now up to 16 games. Nolan Arenado, 0 for 2 so far. Arenado last night 1 for 4 with a double. The Reds' Todd Frazier, the only player in the major leagues with more extra base hits this year than Nolan Arenado. He's also leading the majors in RBIs. Ball 1. Enrique Burgos will start throwing in the Sanderson Ford bullpen with Chase Anderson now at 85 pitches through 5 1/3. Big cut at that fastball, 1-1. Got to be very careful with this guy. His last 11 games, he's got 8 home runs. We got a raucous crowd here tonight. They're upset. Chased a high one, 1-2.
The high heater suddenly becoming a weapon for Chase Anderson. Another one shoulder high.
That's a great example of what you were talking about. They are just up there swinging. 4th of July weekend here in downtown Phoenix. Big night planned tomorrow night. Come on down to Chase Field. Patrick Corbin and post-game 4th of July fireworks. DVAX.com/tickets. You can still get your seats right now online. 7:10 start tomorrow night, so enjoy the day, enjoy your 4th of July, have your cookout, then come on down to the ballpark and watch Patrick Corbin pitch for the first time in 16 months. What a day that's going to be.
Nice capper on a great 4th of July.
One more time on 1-2. Up there hacking. He's not up there working the count by any stretch. He got the helmet sticker stuck to the top of his head there.
Is that what that was?
I think it was. Got him. Another fastball upstairs. Arenado chased him that entire at bat. 5 strikeouts for Chase. The strikeout and the sticker. And you get the little sticker on the inside of the helmet.
Yeah, you're right.
I hate when that happens. Swinging out of his shoes, Nolan Arenado. 2 down for Cargo, who's 0 for 2. It's still on there.
Don't touch me.
Not now. 90 pitches for Chase, 57 strikes. There's ball 1. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Cargo gets a fly ball the other way. Peralta. Well, Chase Anderson gets through 6. He's given up only 3 hits, but he trails at 3-2. Your tickets, 4th of July tomorrow, game time 7:10. Patrick Corbin on the mound, and after the ball game we open up the roof for our annual July 4th fireworks spectacular presented by Gila River Casinos. Don't miss out. You can enjoy the day all day tomorrow, and then join us for the 7:10 start here at Chase Field. Get your tickets right now at dbacks.com.
Our team president Derek Hall talking on the radio the other day. The fireworks show this year might be the longest one they've ever had here at Chase Field.
I heard that too. Yeah, they are very excited about it. It's going to go for a while. Yasmani Tomas leads off the 6th. Tomas, Lamb, Castillo 4, 5, and 6 against Kyle Kendrick. Diamondbacks down 3-0 in the bottom of the 1st, answered with 2. Peralta, Goldie back-to-back doubles, Lamb an RBI triple. They have out-hit the Rockies 7-3, but they still trail. And you're just waiting for Kyle Kendrick to serve one up here, leading the majors in home runs allowed this year. 23, 4 more than Phil Hughes, Kyle Loge, and CC Sabathia, who were all tied for 2nd with 19 home runs given up. And Kendrick is on a pace. He's averaging 1 home run every 4 innings pitched, so he's due.
He's way due.
He was their opening day starter this year and pitched very well that day. 7 scoreless innings at Miller Park in Milwaukee, and that really has been the high watermark all year for Kyle Kendrick. Chopper to third. Arenado, who made 2 errors last night, comes in and charges and throws him out. One down for Lamb. 15 starts for Kyle Kendrick since that opening day win. He's only won twice, and the ERA is 6.5. In fact, the Rockies this year have won only 4 times in Kyle Kendrick's 16 starts. But he's got a 3-2 lead here with 1 out in the 6th. Jake Lamb, an RBI triple back in the 1st. He's 1 for 2. Once again, the Rockies put the overshift on. I don't remember, Bob, even last night, Colorado being this aggressive with their defensive shifts. Now, they are up there for every batter, right or left. Tom Lovell's the bench coach. There's Walt Weiss, the manager. They overload the right-hand side for Lamb, who looks at ball 2. And home run is coming. Lifts it in the air to the left. Sounded like he broke his bat. Barnes has to come in, and he can't get it on the short hop. Lamb's aboard. Broken bat, bloop into shallow left for a 1-out single.
Catcher, Wellington Castillo.
Brings up Wellington Castillo. Kendrick at 80 pitches, 52 strikes. Rockies bullpen quiet right now. Castillo 0 for 2. Now the bullpen gets busy. Christian Friedrich, the left-hander. See if Welly can find that left center field gap again. Strike 1. Boy, anything down and away to a right-hander has been a strike with Manny Gonzalez tonight. And Kendrick has been living there all night long.
He better hit his spots, because Charlie Blackmon has shaded several steps over to the gap in right center. And as we mentioned earlier in the ballgame, Wellington Castillo has been wearing out that gap in left center field.
Up and in. Castillo, take your base. Well, it's hard to miss a spot by more than that. I think it was set up down and away. Let's see if it hit him or not.
Second baseman, Chris Owings.
I think it did get him on the bottom hand there. You could hear it more so than you could see it.
He was showing him that hand on the way down to the ground. Look, it got me. I'll let gravity do the rest. Manny Gonzalez jumped out there. He was all over it. And here comes the pitching coach, Steve Foster, with Friedrich warming up at the bullpen. Well, he all smiles down there at first. And Chris Owings will be the hitter now. They got 2 guys up there. Justin Miller, a pair of right-handers, Miller and Bettencourt. And we saw both of those guys last night. One out in the 6th. Diamondbacks trail it 3-2. They have Jake Lamb at second and Wellington Castillo at first. The hitter is Chris Owings, the second baseman. He has struck out and singled 1 for 2. And look at the defense for Colorado. Keep switching pitchers up down there. Now it's Miller, the right-hander, and Friedrich, the lefty, tying his shoe there. Boy, he is just living away. And Manny Gonzalez is making it easy for him. That's not a good call. You like to see CO have a disciplined approach up there, especially early in the count, but that one's a strike and it's 1-1.
Why would you ever pitch inside if you're going to get that much room off of the outside corner?
And especially a guy like Kendrick, who gives up home runs in bunches this year. There's no need for him to challenge a right-hander like that when he's getting those calls consistently on the outer half.
Come on, Christopher!
Called strike 3. Did it again. 6 strikeouts for Kendrick.
For Kyle Kendrick, that's a nice combination. Throwing that slider off the outside corner and then coming back with the sinker that starts off the plate and tails back to the corner. You can execute those pitches consistently, you can get hitters out in the big leagues forever.
So 2 down, 2 on for Cliff Pennington. Pitcher spot is next. Aaron Hill in the on-deck circle. Penny singled his last time up. He is 9 for his last 20 at the plate. Ball 1. Saw a shot of Chase Anderson in the Diamondback dugout. What a job recovering by Chase after that rocky first inning. He retired 16 of the last 17 he faced tonight. And they're trying to get Chase off the hook. Came inside that time but missed. It's 2 balls and a strike. Hitters count for Pennington. Lamb the runner at second, Castillo at first. 2 balls and a strike.
See ball 3 right here, run the count to full, get those runners in motion on the full count 2-out pitch. Wellington Castillo needs every advantage he can get as the runner over there at first base.
He's not a fast man.
Good call, Manny. Good call.
Manny Gonzalez hearing it from the Chase Field crowd down there. Two and 2. Base hit. They will wave Lamb, and he's going to come in and score. Castillo's in at third, and we're all tied. Cliff Pennington, that's 10 hits in his last 21 at bats.
inside fastball got jammed a little bit, which was a good thing because that ball dropped softly out there in shallow right field, allowing Castillo to make it all the way to third base. And Jake Lamb will score easily. Nice one clip.
That's going to be it for Kyle Kendrick. Chase Anderson, applause, applause. We're all tied here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Rockies will make a pitching change. That's the end for Kyle Kendrick. Back after this, it's 3-3. In part by Oregano's Pizza Bistro, your neighborhood pizza joint. We are athletic supporters. By Card Power from Arizona Federal Credit Union. Now that's the power of us. And by Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General brand tires, visit your local Arizona Tire Pros location today. Well, Kyle Kendrick not able to survive the 6th inning. He leads in a 3-3 ball game, responsible for 2 Diamondback base runners. It's Wellington Castillo at third and Cliff Pennington at first. He turns it over to the right-hander Justin Miller, who threw 4 pitches in last night's ball game. And Aaron Hill will hit for Chase Anderson.
Once Aaron Hill was announced as a pinch hitter, there was no way Walt Weiss could let Kyle Kendrick face Aaron Hill. Aaron 8 for 17 with 4 doubles lifetime against Kendrick. So Miller is the man.
You saw the numbers on Aaron at 225 and 4 homers. Had a 2-run double last night. And that one game after he hit his 4th home run of the year against the Dodgers on Wednesday. Go ahead run at third, 2 outs. Pennington at first.
Talk about the amazing bounce back of Chase Anderson in this ballgame. He threw 16 pitches out of the zone in the first inning. 16 balls. He only threw 17 the rest of the game.
Retired 14 straight at one point. 16 of the last 17 he faced. And if they can score here, he'd be in line for the win. Two and one.
Last night was the first quality start for the Diamondbacks in their last 5 games, and now another one by Chase Anderson here tonight. We had mentioned that last night. You set the bar kind of high. Hope the rest of the guys in the rotation will follow. And Jeremy Hellickson really set the bar high last night.
Sure did. He was outstanding. There's Jeremy, along with Robbie Ray. 2 balls and a strike. That's in there. 2-2. Drop that little breaking ball in there to get back even on the count. It's full 3-2. A.J. Pollock would be next. Rosario will play behind the runner at first. That's Pennington. He'll be off of the pitch. Castillo at third. Here goes Pennington. Ball four. The bases are loaded for Pollock.
Now batting, center fielder A.J. Pollock.
Nick Hundley to the mound.
I mentioned it last night. Rockies starting rotation is nothing to write home about, but boy, once you get in that bullpen, you should be feasting. They're dead last in the majors in bullpen ERA of 4.73.
Wellington Castillo at third. Cliff Pennington at second. Aaron Hill at first. A.J. Pollock. A big home run last night off Chris Russin. That really turned the ball game around. In the sixth inning, it tied it at 1. And the Diamondbacks came up with 8 unanswered after trailing 1-0. Bouncer to Tulowitzki. They get the force at second, and the Diamondbacks leave them loaded, but they tie the ball game. Cliff Pennington, a big RBI 2-out single, makes it 3-3 after 6. For the Diamondbacks on in relief of Chase Anderson, the big right-hander Enrique Burgos, his 18th appearance of the year. The work to Willeen Rosario, Nick Hundley, and Brandon Barnes, 6, 7, and 8 scheduled in the Colorado 7th. Rosario, a 2-run double in the first. He's 1 for 2. By the way, we have spoken with the folks in New York about the play in the 5th inning. That A.J. Pollock single that we thought was a double. that Walt Weiss challenged and got the call overturned. We do have an explanation from the Major League Baseball Advanced Media Headquarters, and we appreciate their cooperation in passing that information along to you, and we'll show you that play in just a moment. That was a bit of a head scratcher, but thankfully they've given us an explanation on what they saw, and we'll show you that in just a minute. Oh, 0-2 on Willeen Rosario. A.J. Pollock in center field, shaded over toward the pool in right center. Peralta with his back against the warning track in left. Called strike 3. Now Burgos gets that call from Manny Gonzalez. Here's a look now. What Major League Baseball did was sync up 2 different camera angles on the exact same time code, and they determined that LeMahieu applied the tag and continued to apply the tag while Pollock took his right hand off the bag and before he put his left hand on the bag. And so they say that is clear and convincing evidence. And so that's the explanation for Major League Baseball. We want to thank them for their cooperation and passing that along to you. Nick Hundley 0 for 2.
Well, you know, I'm a big proponent of instant replay, but we will point out that the gentleman sitting back in New York looking at these replays are the guys that occasionally miss the calls at the ballpark.
Now you want robot reviewers?
Yeah.
Going to turn baseball into the Jetsons. Paul Schreiber down there says, you betcha. I think baseball has done a remarkable job in simplifying the process and improving the communication, because last time there were issues last year. We up here oftentimes had no idea what they were looking at because they just simply didn't tell us. And we want to give baseball credit for improving that process. It's been much, much better this year. 1-2.
We'll see if we could just put a computer chip in the bases and a drone hovering over the field so you'd always have a good camera angle. Yeah, we'd solve all the issues.
Don't think those drone cameras aren't coming. If they could figure out a way to guarantee the safety of the people in the ballpark, they'd have them already. 1-2. Jake Lamb at third, backs him up, sets himself, long throw right there, 2 down. Feel really good about where Jake Lamb is headed as a major league third baseman defensively. He is really solid down there.
He has real good instincts as to when he needs to charge the ball and when he can back up a step, as he does right here. He knows Nick Hundley's running. He's got a little bit of extra time, so rather than try to charge that ball and make it an in-between hop, that time he backed up a step, played it on the big hop, and still had lots of arm to get it across the diamond.
2 down for Brandon Barnes, who's 0 for 2. He is grounded out and flied out.
And that same ground ball hit to Jake Lamb by Brandon Barnes, you might have to come in and try to smother it on the short hop, because Barnes runs really well.
Sure does. Pitcher spot is due up next for the Rockies. Daniel Descalso is in the on-deck circle. He got the start at second base last night and went 0 for 3. Rockies have been without Corey Dickerson for much of the year. Cargo's been banged up from time to time, so Barnes has been playing a lot lately. He's not done a whole lot at the plate with all these starts, hitting just over .230 in his last 26 games, almost all of them starts. Diamondback Live postgame show follows our ball game. the strikeout for Burgos. Gets 2 strikeouts in the inning. Works a 1-2-3-7. And we stretch at Chase Field. Another good ball game for you. We're all tied up at 3. Home field advantage for the World Series is on the line. Coverage of the 2015 Major League Baseball All-Star Game begins July 14th at 4 on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Bottom 7. Tie ball game at Chase Field. Some changes for the Rockies. On the mound, the new pitcher for Colorado, the right-hander Tommy Kahnle. His 14th appearance of the year, a 3.77 ERA. A double switch from Walt Weiss. Kahnle will bat in the 8th spot. And batting 9th, taking over in left field for Brandon Barnes, will be the veteran Drew Stubbs. And the Rockies will put the overshift on for David Peralta, who leads off the 7th. Peralta, Goldie, Tomas, 2, 3, and 4.
Kahnle, a guy that can rack up big strikeout totals, but occasionally loses that strike zone completely.
Daniel Hudson has started throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. Looks like he'll get the 8th inning. Peralta doubled and scored in the 1st. He's 1 for 3. He has been beating up on Rockies pitching this year. David batting over 400 versus Colorado, with now 6 extra base hits and 6 RBIs in 10 games. Studio at 122. The view right behind home plate, right below our broadcast position. We got 2 suites in there. You can rent out 2 at a time, or they'll remove the wall in the middle. You have 1 big room, and the view is tremendous. Got 2 different groups in there tonight. 2-0 is in there for a strike. Tommy Kahnle, a Rule 5 guy. Rockies picked him up in the Rule 5 draft from the Yankees 2 years ago. 2-2.
Heavy sinking fastball from Kahnle when he keeps it around the zone. As I mentioned, he can be a big time strikeout pitcher. It's a swing and miss sinker. Not many guys throw one of those.
Lays off that pitch, and it's full 3-2. Goldie will be next. He's already got 2 hits tonight. Into the shift, LeMahieu.
First baseman,
Paul Goldschmidt tonight. An RBI double in the first. He scored a run on the Lamb triple. Singled in the third. He's 2 for 3.
Is it just my imagination, or has it been a while since Goldie's launched one?
He's due.
Yeah. He's taking his hits. He's taking what the pitcher will allow him to do, which a lot of times is base hits back up the middle of the field.
Goldie's last home run, June 24th against the Rockies. It was at Coors Field. He's down 0-2. That's a good location right there.
97.
Sanderson Ford bullpen. Daniel Hudson continues to throw. Counting tonight, I have it at 39 plate appearances since Goldie's last home run.
Well, that's about long enough.
He's got 20 on the year. Two and two. He's killed the Rockies this year. 9 games against Colorado coming into tonight, batting over .420 with 9 RBIs. And he's got 2 hits tonight. Walt Weiss. Got him. Tommy Kahnle. That one had some hop to it.
right fielder, Yasmani Tomas.
Got that 4-seamer that we saw him rush up there on the outside corner at 97. That must be his changeup he's throwing up there at 87, 88 with all that movement. Oh, had quite a dip in it.
Tomas 0 for 3. Tommy Kahnle, for a Rule 5 guy, got a pretty live arm.
Good combination of pitches. A 97-mile-an-hour 4-seam fastball that's fairly straight, and then that changeup with all that downward movement.
He was a 5th-round draft pick by the Yankees 5 years ago out of Lynn University, which is in Florida.
Some of the members of our crew feel like there's a slight resemblance to Kenny Powers.
He's bounded down. A ball and 2 strikes. Yanked that one. That's what they call in business an overthrow.
Yeah. Occasionally with this Rockies bullpen, it turns into an elevated game of keep away with the catcher. You'll see every other ball goes to the backstop. And Nick Hundley's done a fantastic job tonight of blocking pitches in the dirt, and he has been tested almost every at bat.
2-2 pitch. Asmani's fighting him off up there. Struck him out. Tommy Kahnle comes in, gets Peralta, Goldschmidt, Tomas strikes out 2 and keeps it a 3-3 ball game. The Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights. A 3-3 ball game as Daniel Hudson is on for the Diamondbacks. We open up the 8th inning on a Friday night in downtown Phoenix. His 30th appearance off double Tommy John surgery, and he has been a smashing success in the Diamondback bullpen, throwing as well as ever. And he's out there one night before Patrick Corbin makes his return from Tommy John surgery here tomorrow night. Patrick's first appearance in September of 2013. So get on down here to Chase Field tomorrow night. 4th of July fireworks, and Patrick Corbin is back. Drew Stubbs double switched into the ball game in the left field spot, batting 9th to lead it off.
Watch the first pitch. Starting with a breaking ball in that outside corner. Drew Stubbs is a notorious first ball hacker, whether it's as a pinch hitter off the bench or as a starting player all 4 or 5 of his at-bats.
He flied out in a pinch hit appearance last night against David Hernandez. Just back up from the minor leagues. He was striking out so much, Drew Stubbs, he had to be sent to AAA. This season, 31 strikeouts in 52 at-bats. He was recalled from the minor leagues yesterday. .95 from Huddy. It's 1-2.
Hey fans, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 20 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Arizona Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Sanderson Ford finalist today up there with Vanessa. That's a foul ball.
I think that one may have gotten a piece of Drew Stubbs in the batter's box. Judging from the reaction of home plate umpire Manny Gonzalez, I think it must have hit Stubbs somewhere in the box there before it went down the third baseline. Right off the left toe and into foul territory down the third baseline.
Rockies took a 3-0 lead after a half inning against Chase Anderson. Charlie Blackmon led off the ball game with a homer, his third leadoff home run this year. Anderson then walked LeMahieu and Tulowitzki. They both scored on a Rosario double, and it was 3-0 Rockies. Diamondbacks got 2 back in the home half. Peralta Goldie back-to-back doubles. Lamb an RBI triple. That one misses up and in. And then Cliff Pennington's 2-out RBI single in the 6th tied it at 3. And after that Rocky first, Chase Anderson was sensational. He retired 14 straight Rockies at one point and 16 of the last 17 he faced. But it's a bullpen game now, 3-3 in the 8th. Got him. 96 right by him.
Not too many hitters are going to catch up to that. 96 miles an hour up there at the top of the strike zone with a little bit of movement.
He is so good in this role, throwing that hard. A bridge to Brad Ziegler. Now here's Blackmon, who, as we mentioned a moment ago, led off the ball game with a home run. His 11th this year. Charlie Blackmon hitting close to 50 points better at Coors Field this year, but oddly enough, you got to change that number now because he homered tonight. 8 of his 11 home runs have come on the road. Buddy had 0-2. Up there consistently high 90s.
Funny how your approach will change as a hitter depending on the opposing pitcher out there on the mound. If you're facing a sinker baller, we've talked about this a lot. The idea is make him get the ball up. Don't swing at anything down in the zone because that sinking action is going to take it even farther down. Against a guy like Huddy, you want to make him get it down because you're not going to catch up to 97 up there at the letters.
Says Drew Stubbs. Clayton Kershaw pitching right now for the Dodgers. They're all tied up 1-1 in the 7th inning against the Mets. Padres 2-1 winners in St. Louis. Giants lost at Washington 2-1. Jake Peavy back for San Francisco. He pitched well, but couldn't get the win.
Mets-Dodgers game was Noah Syndergaard against Clayton Kershaw, an anticipated pitcher's duel that seems to have materialized. 1-1 in the top of the 7th.
There's a pitcher's duel for you right now, or it's over now. The Astros 12-8 winners at Fenway Park. So that Red Sox pitching continues to struggle. Must be the bullpen catcher. Not warming them up right or something. Doesn't get the call from Manny Gonzalez, and it's full 3-2. Just missed there with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
It's letting out a lot of pent-up frustration here tonight. Ever since that call on A.J. Pollock at second base that was overturned, they've been booing the umpires at every opportunity.
It's great. This is as into it a crowd as we've seen at Chase Field here in a while. Fans are ready to win. Diamondbacks are 6.5 back of the Dodgers for the NL West lead. So we'll keep an eye on that ball game in LA. 1-1 in the 7th. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Called strike 3. Sorry, Charlie. Manny Gonzalez is having a rough night back there. Big strike zone on that outer half, both to righties and lefties. DJ LeMahieu walked and scored in the first. He's 0 for 2. He's the victim of a terrific leaping grab in right field by Yasmani Tomas in the third inning. So LeMahieu down to 294. In the hole. Tough play for Penny. Got him. Nice play by Cliff Pennington at shortstop. Will go to the bottom of the 8th. Still tied at 3.
Coming up right after the conclusion of this one, our VIP analyst tonight from the Arizona Coyotes, defenseman Connor Murphy. And Connor, let's just personalize this for a moment. Before the game, you went up to the broadcast booth and you met Steve Berthume. You guys are both from back east, the New England area, and he knew in the blink of an eye of your father, Gord, who played for the Bruins back in the day, just like that, right?
Yeah. Well, he asked me where in Boston we were from, and I told him I was born in Beverly, and he said, "Yeah, Beverly." And I said, "Yeah, my dad actually played." His name's Gord. He goes, "The big, tall defenseman, Gord Murphy." I go, "Yeah, that's him."
You can't slip anything by him.
It's impressive.
I just wanted to get that out there. Yeah. So when this game ends, Steve and Bob, Connor and I will bring it home. Diamondbacks Live, the post-game show coming up hopefully in a bit. Steve?
I tell you, Todd, I'm a regular Gilles Gilbert up here. Ooh. Christian Friedrich, the left-hander, on to start the bottom of the 8th against Jake Lamb. What do you think about Connor's dad, Gord? It's easy to picture, you know, big defenseman back there. And Bruins have always loved big defensemen, Gord Kluzak, guys like that. But Gord Murphy only played for the Bruins for a little while. He spent a lot of time with the Flyers and the Panthers. Played for the Thrashers for a while. And it's great to have Connor here with us. Overshift is way on for the Rockies. Lamb's behind 0-2. You can really get aggressive with your shifts against lefties if you've got Nolan Arenado to play third. He's in the shortstop spot right now, but he can, as we know, cover a lot of ground over there and get a throw off from just about anywhere.
Good eye, Manny, good eye.
Sanderson Ford bullpen. Brad Ziegler. Two and two.
This might be Friedrich's only hitter. Facing the left hand, hitting Jake Lamb. A string of righties and a switch hitter coming up after him.
2-2 pitch. Tell you what, it's It takes some courage. There's the Scott Oberg, who is warming up for the Rockies. Had a rough night last night. Gave up 4 earned runs on 3 hits. Got only 1 batter out. It's got to be tough to take anything away with the way Gonzalez has called balls and strikes today. That one's in the dirt. And the go-ahead run is aboard to lead off the 8th. So Friedrich comes in presumably to face 1 batter, and he walked him.
Nice for the staff over there, crunching some numbers, trying to decide whether to leave Friedrich in the game to face Wellington Castillo or go get the right-hander.
Big game tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show at 6:30, 7:10 first pitch. 4th of July, the return of Patrick Corbin to the Diamondbacks. Only looks in the dugout. I guess they're going to let Castillo face the lefty here.
Make it hurt.
Thanks. Ball 1. I mean, Oberg had a rough night, as I mentioned, last night, so it's not like you have a great option back there. He worked the 7th inning. 4 runs, all earned, 3 hits. He walked 2 through 24 pitches, 9 strikes. So if that's your only other option at this point, might as well stick with Friedrich.
One thing I'm sure that Chip Hale ran through the computer here. You could possibly run for Jake Lamb down at first base with Nick Ahmed, get better speed on the bases. It'd be an easy switch. Ahmed would come in and play short, and Cliff Pennington move over to third base. But so far it's Lamb running at first and Wellington Castillo at the plate. Some managers don't like to make that particular move until the runner gets into scoring position at second base. I always preferred to do it right away. What if Wellington Castillo hits a triple and your runner can't score from first base? I think sometimes if you wait until he gets into scoring position, by then it's maybe a little bit too late, or could be too late if that batter happens to hit one in the gap or down the lines.
And the way Castillo has found gaps lately, you got to think about that. Swung a bad one there. It's 1-2.
Castillo in his career hitting about 60 points higher against left-handed pitching than against righties. Slugging almost 100 points higher against the lefties.
0 for 2 so far tonight. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. Can't hold up, and it works. Friedrich strikes out Castillo, 1 down. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game mentioned a moment ago the catch that Yasmani Tomas made back in the 3rd inning to take extra bases away from DJ LeMahieu. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game, the Yasmani Tomas pirouette on the warning track. 1 down for Chris Owings, who was struck out twice. He singled in the 4th. Strike 1. Chris up there right now with 12 strikeouts in his last 26 at bats. Hey fans, now's the time for you to tweet us your strongest fan photo. Just use the hashtag AZDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself at an upcoming broadcast if you pass muster with the Brenly Committee. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. AZDataStrongFan is the hashtag.
Some great pictures from the fans last year. You're really going to have to go some this year to make air.
0-2. He did not go, says Paul Schreiber at first. Well, it's up to Leo Gilmartin to formally accept the appointment. And there's still some doubt about that. He's not big on responsibility.
The big question is compensation. I mean,
negotiations underway.
Leo's very good at a lot of things that he does, but I don't think he should be paid as much as he's asking to be on the committee or to head the committee.
Arenado, it kicks off the glove, and Owings is aboard. Nolan Arenado, a diving stop to keep that from getting into left field, but he couldn't corral it. And the Diamondbacks have 2 on with 1 out. A base hit for CO, his second hit tonight.
Big old breaking ball that hung up just enough for CO to scorch it to that left side. Arenado, a couple steps in a dive, once again hits him in the same spot where he booted both of the balls last night. Fielding balls up near the heel of the glove and knocked that one over toward the shortstop position, allowing CO to reach first. And Jake Lamb moves into scoring position.
Cliff Pennington will be the hitter. Lamb at second, Owings at first. Pennington, the switch hitter, will bat from the right-hand side. Cliff 2 for 3. His RBI single in the 6th tied it up. And he's up there right now. 10 for his last 21 at the plate. Pitcher spot is due up next. Nick Ahmed is out there.
I think that explains why we didn't see Nick running at first base for Jake Lamb. You had that pitcher spot coming up. You got the left-handed hitting Danny Dorn, the switch hitting Jared Saltalamacchia, and Nick Ahmed. So Chip figured his best plan of attack was to save Nick Ahmed to possibly pinch hit in that pitcher spot.
Nick has only 8 plate appearances all year as a right-hand hitter. 1 for 5 with 3 bases on balls. That's in there for a strike, and it's 1-2. The left-hander works the whole inning and gets out of trouble. He keeps it tied. use your closer in the ninth inning in a tie game at home, and Brad Ziegler is out there on a 3-3 ball game. And he's got his work cut out for him. Troy Tulowitzki, Nolan Arenado, and Carlos Gonzalez, 3, 4, and 5 due up in the Colorado ninth. With that delivery, a 1.32 ERA. Tulowitzki walked and scored in the first. He singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Diamondbacks have out-hit the Rockies 10-3. Colorado has had 1 hit since the first inning. That was a Tulowitzki single his last time up in the 6th. Chase Anderson gave up 3 runs in the first and then retired 16 of the last 17 he faced. That 6th inning single for Tulo extended his hitting streak. It's now up to 16 games. And he has hit safely in 28 of his last 29. Owens at second. CO. Some COD. 1 down.
Nice body control by Chris Owings that time. Goes down to a slide to make the play. Quickly pops up to his feet, gets it over there, and plenty of time to get Tulowitzki at first.
Arenado 0 for 3. Tapper out in front of home plate. Castillo's on it. 2 down. Hey fans, watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD. On over 400 mobile and connected devices, it's MLB.TV Premium. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and a whole lot more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions do apply, so visit MLB.TV for all the details. 2 outs on 3 pitches for Ziegler. Here's Cargo, who's 0 for 3. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. And Pennington all by his lonesome on the left-hand side.
This partner, you've heard closers say, it's just not the same when I come into a tie game or when we're trailing, just to get some work. It's just not the same. I can't get my adrenaline going. A way to kind of excuse away some poor outings by a closer. But for Brad Ziegler, in non-save situations this year, 18 ball games, he's got an ERA of 0.48.
That'll work. Reaches out and hits a tapper to Jake Lamb. The shift is on, and Brad Ziegler, how about that quick 1, 2, 3 inning? Due up for the Diamondbacks. Aaron Hill, or that pitcher spot, A.J. Pollock, and then David Peralta. We'll see A.J. in the 9th. against Chase Anderson. Charlie Blackmon hit a leadoff homer. LeMahieu walked, Tulowitzki walked. Those were the first 3 batters of the ball game. They came in on a Rosario 2-run double. It was 3-0 Rockies. Diamondbacks answered in the home half. Back-to-back doubles by Peralta and Goldie, an RBI triple by Jake Lamb. After that, Chase Anderson retired 16 of the final 17 he faced. He set down 14 straight at one point. Cliff Pennington, a 2-out RBI single in the 6th, tied it. And here we are, 3-3 bottom 9. Christian Friedrich, the left-hander, sent out to the mound by Walt Weiss. They just announced now Nick Ahmed as the pinch hitter for the pitcher. And now Weiss is back out there to counter the move. We'll take a break. Bottom 9 coming up. To enter for a chance to win 2 seats on the Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express, presented by Cox Communications. You'll get round-trip transportation to the Diamondbacks game July 18th. Also on July 18th, you'll get to come early and meet A.J. Pollock. He'll be at the store for an hour from 10:30 to 11:30 that morning. And that, of course, is A.J. Pollock's Star Wars bobblehead night, all brought to you by Cox Communications. A.J. on deck. Nick Ahmed will lead off the bottom of the 9th against the new pitcher, the right-hander Scott Oberg, who had a rough night here last night. He pitched the 7th. Gave up 4 runs, all earned, on 3 hits. He also walked 2. 3-3 bottom 9. Ahmed hits for the pitcher. He's at .237 and 6 homers. He had a base hit last night. He's hit safely in 4 straight. Boy, the bat has really come around for Nick. 3 against the Dodgers, 1 against the Rockies. He's 6 for 17 here in this homestand. He's ahead 2-0. Rockies have scored in only 2 of the 18 innings in this series. They lost 8-1 last night. They got 1 run in the 5th. And that was by the pitcher. And they scored 3 in the 1st. That's been it. 2-0 to Ahmed. 3 balls and no strikes. You take 2 here?
No. Take 1. But then look for something you can really drive.
Pollock will be next. There's the strike.
Get it ready. 4 of his 6 home runs this season have come against right-handed pitching. Ball 4, winning runs aboard to lead off the 9th.
Well, this is a rematch last night of Oberg's appearance in the 7th inning. He faced A.J. Pollock. A.J. come up there and banged the base hit into center. He walked Goldie, then Yasmani Tomas followed with a 2-run double. And Oberg had a meltdown in that 7th. And now he's walked the leadoff man here in the 9th.
Walt Weiss either showing a lot of confidence in his right-hander or a very short memory. Nobody warming up in the Rockies bullpen behind Oberg.
A.J. 1 for 4. He singled in the 5th. Ahmed is the winning run at first. Nobody out. Bunts it. And it's a good one. Arenado has no play. A.J.'s aboard. Base hit for Pollock. And the winning run is in scoring position with no outs.
Nice job. Bunts that ball hard. Usually you want to bunt that ball to the first base side, but he put it in such a good spot. The Rockies were a little confused. Arenado comes up. There's nobody at the bag initially, so he just eats the ball over there.
Willeen Rosario charged and was hung up in no man's land by the time LeMahieu got over there. Pollock was already at the bag. So here's Peralta with 2 on and nobody out. David doubled and scored a run in the 1st. He's 1 for 4. Take a look at our Arizona Federal Credit Union Power Player of the Game. David Peralta on a roll. 310 over his last 16 games, including 7 RBIs. Ahmed is at second. He's the winning run. Ball 1. Diamondbacks have only 2 walk-off wins this year. April 10th here against the Dodgers, Ender Inciarte. May 22nd against the Cubs. Ahmed drove in Tuffy Gozerich.
There's probably some fans sitting at home saying, why isn't David Peralta bunted? Because if he does successfully get a sacrifice bunt down and move those 2 runners up, Goldie's going to be intentionally walking. You want to make sure Goldie gets an opportunity to swing the bat here in the bottom of the 9th.
He has doubled and singled tonight. Oberg 8 pitches, 6 of them balls. A bouncer up the middle. LeMahieu knocks it down. Peralta reaches safely. And Ahmed's in at third. Fielden Culbreth rules Pollock out at second. And so they're on the corners with 1 down. That one almost got through.
First baseman, Paul Goldschmidt.
We got 1 base open at second.
I would imagine they're going to walk him intentionally anyway. As long as you have a base open somewhere on that infield, why take a chance with Paul Goldschmidt?
It's a fielder's choice for Peralta. 4-6 on the putout at second of Pollock. And here's Goldie. Tom Reynolds, the bench coach. Walt Weiss on the top step, the manager. And they're going to walk him. Nick Hundley. They will walk Paul Goldschmidt intentionally and pitch to Yasmani Tomas.
Be on your toes, Nick Ahmed. We've seen the Rockies have some trouble issuing intentional walks, almost throwing the ball over the head of Nick Hundley.
Leads the major leagues in free passes. Would you do this if you were Walt Weiss?
Yeah. And it's not a knock on Yasmani Tomas. It's just how good Paul Goldschmidt is. And any opportunity you get to take the bat out of his hand with the game on the line, you have to do it.
Leading the major leagues in hitting right now at .354. So Tomas has the chance to be the hero. The bases are loaded with 1 out. Matters is standing down there at third. Walt Weiss, I think they're going to go with 5 infielders here. Descalso, who started at second base last night, is coming in. Charlie Blackmon. And he's going over to talk to Carlos Gonzalez, and Cargo is going to come off the field here. So they'll take out an outfielder and add what looks to be a 5th infielder. And the reason for 5 infielders exactly?
Well, obviously the game on the line right here. You have to come home with a ground ball to the infield, so you want to block or plug as many of those holes in the infield as you possibly can. Figuring that a ball hit to the outfield is going to win the game for the Diamondbacks anyway, so let's try to keep the ball down in the zone, get a ground ball, and overload that infield with defenders.
So Descalso is in there. Cargo is out. And they'll put Descalso at the shortstop spot. Arenado near the bag at third. Tulowitzki, LeMahieu, Rosario, your other infield defenders.
And this way as a hitter, Yasmani Tomas really has to be disciplined, really has to quickly recognize pitches. Don't swing at anything mid-thigh and down. You can get the ball up or you can lift it in the air to the outfield.
Bases are loaded with 1 out. Yasmani Tomas 0 for 4. Tomas had a 2-run double against Oberg last night.
I really don't have an issue with the 5-man infield. I do have an issue with the way they're positioned. If I was Walt Weiss, I'd plug the right side of the infield rather than the left side.
Tomas hits the ball the other way more often than not.
Seems to be a lot of confusion in that Rockies infield as to what they're going to do if the ball's hit to them. Descalso and LeMahieu were talking about turning 2 up the middle. Walt Weiss is telling everybody to bring the ball home.
0-1. There's the strike. Oberg jumps ahead 0-2. Tell you what, you hold your breath on anything outside with Manny Gonzalez back there. That's well, off the plate, but that's been a strike a lot of times for him. Saves the day back there.
Almost got through that 5-hole. Mentioned an inning ago, Hundley's done a great job tonight of blocking balls in the dirt. That one, however, very nearly got underneath, just up in the webbing of that catcher's mitt.
Ahmed is the runner at third. He's the winning run. Peralta at second and Goldie aboard at first. 5-man infield for the Rockies. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Yasmani Tomas. Got him. Chased one up and away at 96. 2 down. And it's up to Jake Lamb. And now Walt Weiss going to get Ben Paulson in there. He's got a glove on the top step. And they're going to go back to 3 outfielders. They've taken Cargo out, so Paulson is the other option here. And Descalso will lead. Paulson got the start at first base last night. He's played a lot of left field as well. So he'll go out there. Blackman will stay in center, and Barnes will move to right.
All the maneuvering. Very nearly depleting his bench completely. The only available player now is Michael McHenry, the backup catcher. And throughout it all, you've got a left-handed hitter, Jake Lamb, up at the plate now with the game on the line. He's got 2 left-handed relievers available in the bullpen. Nobody warming up.
Ahmed at third, Peralta at second, Goldschmidt at first. Bottom 9, 3-3 ball game, 2 outs, and Lamb is the hitter. He's had a good night so far. A triple, a single. He walked his last time up. Snares it, spins and throws, and Walt Weiss walks the high wire but escapes. And we'll play extras at Chase Field. E.J. LeMahieu at second makes the play they needed and keeps it 3-3. All season long. Jack Link's beef jerky. Feed your wild side. Feed it. 10th inning at Chase Field, 3-3 ball game. The Rockies and the Diamondbacks. New pitcher for Arizona. It's the left-hander Andrew Chafin. And some defensive changes behind him after that wild 9th inning. Diamondbacks had their chances, but they've just not been able to get that big hit. They are 3 for 12 tonight with runners in scoring position. They have stranded 11 base runners.
Oh, for the timely hit.
Nick Ahmed, who came in to hit for the pitcher in the bottom of the 9th and got that leadoff walk, stays in the game. He plays shortstop now, and Cliff Pennington moves over. He replaces Jake Lamb at third. Rosario leads off the 10th. A 2-run double in the first. He's 1 for 3. He has struck out twice. Boy, Walt Weiss was like, one of those plate spinners on the old Ed Sullivan show. He had guys up there on sticks spinning around, but it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, we're trying to determine if the Rockies should win this game. Does Daniel Descalso get a hold?
He played a key role there, that's for sure. The 5-man infield, they got the strikeout. Then the 4-man infield, they got the ground ball. So go figure. You know who's really suffering right now? A guy that's taking it on the chin big time. A big time hang with him. It's Connor Murphy, our VIP analyst tonight for Fox Sports Arizona. They had a morning skate around.
Oh.
You know, those hockey guys, they get up at like 4 a.m. every day. They're out there skating around, even before the donuts. And now we got extra innings for Connor. I mean, he's here going, yeah, is there a shootout? What's happening here?
Well, yeah, baseball followed the lead of hockey. You just have home run derby now. Send your 2 or 3 best home run hitters up there, give them 5 swings each, and whoever hits the most homers wins.
Don't give them any ideas. 3-1. They'll overshift now with Rosario up there in a hitter's count. And Chafin loses the leadoff man. A walk to Rosario. Here they are, Connor. I mean, it's thumbs up, hang in there. Todd, how's he doing down there?
He's okay. He's already worried about the 3-on-3 in overtime coming up next year.
I like the shorts.
That, yeah.
Can we wear shorts now? Is that all right?
He had the line of the night. He actually said a couple of moments ago, he's going to kill me for saying this, but should I put pants on?
Boy, if I had a nickel.
Exactly.
I couldn't handle it. I'm weak. I'm from up north, so I can't handle the heat. Sorry, guys.
The true north, strong and free. Nick Hundley.
You know, they've got to skate around early in the morning because the ice melts about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Good seats right behind home plate. Extra innings. Friday night in downtown Phoenix on this July 4th holiday weekend. Finally gets the bunt down. It's a good one. Castillo, nope. Waited for it to roll foul. It never did. That putt held its line. And so it's first and second, nobody out. Boy, hard to do better than that.
Wellington Castillo's hoping that ball would hit a dirt clump and go into foul territory, but you know, the reality is you got to get it out right here. That was too close to really know if it was going to stay fair or go foul. I think if he had to do over again, he'd have scooped that ball up and gotten the out at first and then go to work here on the pinch hitter Michael McHenry.
Well, here's the dilemma now for Walt Weiss. He apparently burned through his entire bench there because he already double switched early in the ball game to get Drew Stubbs in. I mean, he had Descalso, he used him. He's already put Paulson in the game, so now he's got to use his backup catcher, Michael McHenry, to pinch hit. He's trying to get the attention of Stu Cole down at third. Goldie charging from first, and that's ball one.
McHenry does not have a sacrifice bunt this season. The Rockies don't do a lot of sacrifice bunting, as you can imagine, especially playing at their home ballpark, where everybody's in scoring position when you stand in the batter's box.
You could have guys homer attempting to bunt. And now McHenry needs to talk it over with Stu Cole. First and second, nobody out. McHenry 4 for his last 31 up there with 12 strikeouts. So lately he struck out just about half the time he's been up there. Goldie well in on the grass at first. Pennington toes on the grass at third. Swinging away. That's out of play.
Don't be surprised to see McHenry go back to the bunt here. It's actually a play I kind of like. Show sacrifice bunt on the first pitch, take it for a ball, and then turn the hitter loose on the next delivery because the Diamondbacks were expecting a bunt from Michael McHenry. Andrew Chafin just trying to throw a strike to allow him to bunt. Good time to turn a hitter loose.
1 ball and 1 strike. He's going to bunt again here. Ahmed at shortstop is breaking toward the third base bag. Goldie crashing in from first.
This would appear to be one of those situations where the wheel play might be called for. Charge both corner infielders, have Nick Ahmed break to third base, try to get the lead runner, Willeen Rosario, who does not run well.
There goes Ahmed. McHenry squares, and that's a ball. Pulled back in time, 2-1. Another summit meeting with Stu Cole.
You see Nick breaking for third. That means they're going to try to get the lead runner. Penny and Goldie both charging from the corners. Andrew Chapin coming straight in from the mound. Unfortunately, did not throw a strike. Any bunt defense relies on the pitcher throwing a strike. The batter's trying to give you an out. Throw the ball over the plate, let him bunt it, and then do what you have to do defensively. But it all starts with a strike.
Chafin turned and looked at second base, but Ahmed was in a dead sprint toward third. Rosario is the runner at second, Hundley at first. You've got a pair of catchers on the bases for the Rockies, essentially.
Catcher at the plate. Could be a triple play.
Take it right now. Squares to bunt again, and that's also a ball. And now Chafin's behind 3-1.
Once again, you're into a count where Walt Weiss might decide to turn McHenry loose. 3-1. Have to throw a strike right here.
He's thrown 10 pitches, 7 of them have been balls. He walked Rosario. Hundley reached on a bunt single. They just cannot get the signs right here. Here comes Mike Harkey.
I think as long as the Rockies are in town, they ought to stop over at Salt River Fields tomorrow morning and go over some spring training fundamental drills like reading signs.
We'll take advantage of the facility. Stu Cole coaching in third.
At every juncture, there's been confusion.
Yeah, you're right.
They played the 5-man infield. The guys up the middle thought they were supposed to turn 2. Walt was telling them, no, throw the ball home. Nobody really knew for sure what was going on. Now you got an obvious sacrifice bunt situation, but nobody in the black jerseys is quite sure what they're doing.
3 balls and 1 strike. Swinging away, lines it to Oakland, and then double off Rosario. Bingo!
Just like you draw it up. Work yourself into a 3-1 count. Let him hit a line drive right at the shortstop. Rosario strayed just a little too far off the bag out there. It turns it into a double play.
So now he's got Drew Stubbs up there. Nick Hundley is still aboard at first, but there are 2 outs in a 3-3 ball game. Double play, 6-4 on the putout. Stubbs struck out his first at bat against Daniel Hudson. There's ball 1. Well, if you're looking for a strikeout, this is the guy. He's punched out 32 times in his last 53 at bats. Drew Stubbs recalled from the minor leagues just in time for the start of this series. He'd been down at AAA Albuquerque hitting .260. Played 38 games down there. Been down there since the middle of May. 1-1. Diamondbacks in the bottom of the 10th will have Castillo, Owings, and Pennington. 6, 7, and 8. Two and 2. struck him out. Andrew Chafin gets out of it. Bottom 10 coming up, 3-3. Ball game in the bottom of the ninth. Goldie was intentionally walked, and they had bases loaded, but Tomas struck out, and Jake Lamb grounded out after some defensive machinations by Walt Weiss out there, who had a 5-man infield for the Tomas strikeout and a 4-man infield for the ground ball by Lamb. He ran through his bench here. Chip Hale's Diamondbacks got out of a 2-on, nobody out mess themselves in the top of the 10th. And now we're on here in the bottom of the 10th inning. And the new pitcher for the Rockies, just his 4th appearance this year, Yohan Flande, the left-hander.
Now he brings in the lefty to face a couple of right-handed hitters.
Hey, it worked. What are you complaining about? Called up Tuesday from AAA Albuquerque. He was 3-3 down there with a 7.11 ERA. Ouch big. So Castillo, who's 0 for 3, leads off the 10th. Diamondbacks, bases loaded, could not take advantage. Tonight they are 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position. And 0 for 3 with the bases loaded. So we'll see what they do here with Yohan Flande. Baxter's got his Statue of Liberty outfit on. And once we hit extra innings, it's a rule with him. He changes outfits every inning. But unlike Dinger, you know, we're not assured of a win, but Baxter's out there working.
Yeah.
You know, he's a grinder. Dinger, you know, he'd be back there in the green room reading magazines and eating, you know, cheese doodles. But Baxter's out there working.
I think Dinger's contract calls for him to only work 9 innings. Extra innings, they have to pay him time and a half.
Wellington Castillo gives it away. It's off the wall. He's at it again. He's the winning run.
Like a cutter that just didn't cut, stayed right in the middle of the plate for Wellington Castillo. Put a charge on that one right at the base of the wall out there, just to the right of the 376 mark.
The infielders are meeting again.
Oh, here we go.
Chris Owings will be the hitter. I need somebody to translate. And he had Descalso, McHenry, Paulson, and Stubbs on the bench. They've all played, or they're all in there, so this is it. Owens 2 for 4. He has singled twice and struck out twice.
Has 4 sack bunts on the season. Also very adept at bunting for a base hit.
3 for 12 with runners in scoring position. They have stranded 11 tonight. Owens gets it down and it rolls foul. Andy Green coaching at third.
Limited options if you wanted to run for Wellington Castillo at second base. Jared Saltalamacchia is still available, as is Danny Dorn. You'd probably like to save Dorn's bat if you need to pinch hit at some point here in extra innings. This is where you possibly use one of your starting pitchers if there's somebody you trust and is athletic enough to go out there and run the bases faster than Wellington Castillo.
Rosario charging in from first. Owens pulls back, but that's strike 2. Stop Castillo at third. They're on the corners with nobody out. Even the throw in there got kicked around, and Arenado had to chase after it. So Cliff Pennington will be the hitter. CO 3 hits tonight.
Drilled that one through the left side of the infield. Rocky's not sure to expect bunt or if Chris Owens is going to swing away. You see how far drawn in Arenado is. Just gets by him so quickly. Castillo unfortunately had to hold up momentarily to make sure that ball got through the left side of the infield. No chance to send it.
Wellington Castillo, the winning run at third. Chris Owens aboard at first. Cliff Pennington had the 2-out RBI single that tied the game in the 6th. He came up in the 8th inning and hit into a double play. The infield is in for the Rockies. Paulson has it. Here comes Welly, and the Diamondbacks win it. Their 3rd walk-off win this year. Cliff Pennington, the hero tonight. Might have been trying to walk the hitter here. Yep, he wanted the intentional walk, but he got the sign in too late, and he served up the walk-off winner. A high fly ball to left.
I'll tell you, this is one of the more dysfunctional games I've seen in a long time. Rockies just seemed confused throughout the entire ball game when situations came up during the course of the game. Walt Weiss a little slow on the trigger finger, and it ended up costing him an extra innings.
Well, the Dodgers lost at home. The Mets beat them 2-1. Diamondbacks win here, so they're only 5.5 back now in the division. And 2 under 500. Jody Jackson standing by with Cliff Pennington, who had another big night tonight. Jody.
Yeah, certainly 2-hit night here for Cliff Pennington, and the walk-off RBI. Oh. Icy mixture. What happened to the old plain old bubble gum?
I don't know. I wish it would come back.
We have dirt, we have bubble gum. How good does this feel? You guys battled in this game. You were down early and obviously battled just in that bottom of the 1st inning, but you tied this game up first. I'll ask you about that in a minute, but what was your approach there? You're trying to get Wellington home. What were you trying to do?
Well, first off, Chase, I mean, to give up 3 in the 1st, and then I don't think he gave up a hit after that, maybe 1. I mean, he battled and gave us a chance. And that's what our pitchers have been doing, and that's what we need. Right there, hitting a sac fly with Wellington. He's the slowest guy on the planet, so I hit it really far, hopefully. And when I saw him backing up, I was like, okay, we're good.
You know, so many things happens in the previous inning, and it worked out for the Rockies in so many ways, and then Chafin gets out there. What about your defensive play to turn that double play with the liner right to you?
Yeah, I mean, Hart came out and gave a great meeting and got him to hit into a double play, and it's perfect. It's what a pitcher is supposed to do.
You know, you mentioned Chase, you're right. He only gave up one hit after that first inning to Troy Tulowitzki, and then you know, the other guys just picked up right after that, Burgos, Huddy, Ziegler, and it's a huge effort by this pitching staff to hold that Rockies lineup down, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great offensive team. You get up 3 in the first. I mean, there's not a whole lot of games you win when you get up 3 in the first, and for those guys to shut it down after that and give us the full 9 to get back in it, because we needed it. They pitched the ball well today, so it was huge.
All right, Penny, thanks for the time.
No problem.
All right, Penny's going to go clean up, and we're going to send it up to the post-game set. Todd Walsh and Connor Murphy. Connor, that is how they walk it off in baseball. There is ice involved.
Yes, there is. There's no doubt about it.